Hello everyone, back to the House Cup here at GLL. I'm joined by Claytano. I'm Joe Larson. Today or tonight, wherever you are in the world, we're gonna figure out who from the NA group finals are going to Shanghai. We had an amazing European final groups with 4 people moving on. And here's the schedule that we've been kind of working ourselves through with 2 groups from EU, 2 groups from NA, then going into one final group. We're seeing the last of the last here. 4 more games remain. Who's going to go to Shanghai? Who's going to claim that precious money at line? Going to be super stacked. Okay, so here we have the schedule. We've been running through the first half, of course, and now starting with the 5th game out of the NA finals. The European finals was, to say the least, quite exciting right down to the end. Actually, there was a tiebreaker who decided who was going to Shanghai, and it was kind of insane. Actually, Max going there as the bubble, having 2 more games won out of the group.
Yeah,
Kind of sick, yeah.
absolutely insane, all the way down to the last and final game. So definitely congratulations to Nudge WK taking first place, Disowned taking second place. Then we had Seiko actually taking third, and of course, like you said, Max taking fourth. So that was absolutely insane. I expect nothing less from this NA group as well as we get into the final 4 games of the best of 8 series. We have some players here in the group that are looking to make a massive comeback, and also players that are looking to maintain their lead. So it should be pretty epic.
Yeah, speaking of maintaining their leads, let's have a look at the scores from the first 4 games of the NA final group. We have Chuck in first place at 26 points. Not too long thereafter, we have Sissel at 24 points, Vince at 21, Monty at 15, kind of a drop off there from the top 3. Then we have Sagrag not too far behind from Monty at 14, Hosty in 6th place, as well as Neutron also at 11 points, T-Tigers at 10. So the bottom 4, I should even say the bottom 5, are kind of close to each other, but they will have to all work to get that 4th place. But then again, there are 4 whole games remaining, so not even Chuck at this point is really secure to make it. Anything can really happen. We saw a lot of things happen in the European finals. The kind of scoreboard shuffled around all the way to the end. So
it was a roller coaster.
For sure, yeah. We saw a lot of interesting kind of development in the European group finals. All along the kind of broadcast, we have seen, of course, God Mages pretty dominant at many stages of the game. We've seen a lot of Hunter builds, especially from NA, that Glacier Knight build as well. But then, in the end, the metagame kind of developed into Divinity Gods actually becoming really good, especially in the European final last games, to kind of rock, paper, scissors, where they figured out that if you had a good start and you got those God of Wars, you could actually beat Glacier Knight with Divinity, kind of making it one of the tier 1 strategies.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you can get that God of War to 3-star, and they weren't able to get a teleport dagger on their 3-star Hell Knight and kind of just shred through the backline, you're in pretty good shape for the most part. But we did see a lot of Knights Glaciers and a little bit more variations of it too. A lot of people going 6 Knights actually, with throwing in some different like shaman bonuses and some cool different little variations, like we said, in order to counteract those God Mages, also the Dragon Mages. But we honestly, what I was most surprised about is we didn't actually see as many Dragon Mage players as I was expecting to. And again, even going into these 4 last NA games, I still expect to see a lot of Dragon Mages. But there were some games that they weren't even being played, which was actually kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, I think with the, it's interesting because usually we see Knight Glaciers being all-rounded at 4 Knights and 4 Glacier really early, then adding that Soul Reaper for the Asarius bonus. But then in the end, they were all kind of flexible, just like you mentioned. Sometimes you found those Dragon Knights a little bit earlier. Alongside Argali Knight, you could actually make those 6 Knights. So with Knights being a little bit more flexible, there were actually more people going for knights, and when they got that, especially that Hell Knight, I'd say, to 3-star, they actually started beating up on some of the Dragon Mage players. So
Yeah,
I think that's the reason why we saw a lot of Divinity getting a bit more of a foothold in the metagame.
Yeah, and a lot of what we saw too with those Knights players was that they would go to level 9, have 6 Knights, 4 Glacier, instead of being at level 8 with 4 Knights, 4 Glacier, as well as throwing in the Soul Reaper, which definitely makes a lot of sense if you're not up against a whole lot of other Warrior players.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily need that Aggressus bonus added in. You don't necessarily need that Warlock bonus because you already have such a tanky frontline anyway if you do go 6 Knights.
Right.
And then the other thing is that having 6 Knights is just way more difficult to break through if you have that Hell Knight with Heart of Tarrasque trying to get nuked out by some mages. It just is really hard and it almost doesn't happen.
Yeah, it totally makes sense because with that Warlock buff for the Knights, they actually make them, they last a little bit longer in attrition fights, especially in the mirror matches and against Hunters, for example. But, well, it started to become more important to survive the initial burst from the 6 Knights lineup. So cool to see those small developments in what we already thought was a kind of settled metagame, if you will. And beyond this kind of trio of comps, we saw, of course, some feathered builds back and forth, but I feel like that's starting to be out of the metagame. I mean, they were not succeeding at all, not even. So all of the feathered players that actually did well did so off of a winning streak and not the classical lose streak. But even doing so, with this metagame going to such late game, it actually even had problem against the Knight Glacier players when you get a 3-star Hell Knight and a 3-star Lightblade Paladin.
Yeah, I mean, we saw guys like Philip running off of a 100% win streak with Feathered Hunter, and you know, a lot of people think that that's just an insane build and it's so good right now, but really it ended up falling off and got beat by multiple different builds, and instead of maintaining that win streak, he actually finished 4th. So surprisingly enough, it was just not enough. And 4th in this match sometimes isn't even going to be enough because you really need to be making sure that you're going for first, trying to get those points, even 2nd or 3rd. But 4th is just sometimes not going to get you to Shanghai, unfortunately, and that's what it's all about, really just moving on to Shanghai, and then at the end trying to kind of squeeze in some points to either give yourself a little bit more money from this tournament, because we are playing for $20,000 at this point.
Not nothing.
Not nothing.
Not nothing, no. And I really want to dive down on kind of the players figuring out the flexibility of those Knight builds, even becoming stronger, making Divinity, God, and Mages and Warlocks even stronger, because the reason and the difference between the Divinity, God Mage, Warlock comp in comparison to maybe 6 Mages or even Dragon Mages is that they're not really about bursting you down. They kind of want to trap your opposing units in their front so they can get off as many spells as possible behind that God of War and kind of attrition you out. They have their Warlock bonus, they have the Soul Reaper continuously healing, dealing damage, and then Siren continues stunning once or even twice. So yeah, super impressed by that, and it kind of makes sense when you see it a couple of games in a row. And yeah, I mean, really turn around the tables in the end. So super cool for the people who kind of catch up on that, because it really made him go, I mean, honestly, go to Shanghai.
Yeah, and I mean, we did see a couple devastating moments, though.
Yeah.
Of course, Orin was high-rolling that God of Thunder level 8 when he needed it the most, and then it just kind of fell a little bit short, because even though gods were super relevant in those last final games for the European qualifiers, they were still sort of countered, or really countered by humans mages, and more specifically dragons mages at the same time.
Yeah, and that's why we talk about the rock paper scissor metagame, where the human knight, and you mentioned human very specifically, right? Because one of the issues with the God, Divinity, Mage, Warlock comps is that if you get enough human silence on them, they can't really get their spells off, and that attrition kind of falls off. It doesn't matter as much that you have that tanky frontline God of War. So yeah, very cool. And we have seen some offshoot builds. I'm not saying we're gonna see that again, but we did had some other builds actually winning. Especially, I'm thinking about that Fallen Witcher game
Yeah.
that I thought was really cool. And it's really hard to get into that because, I mean, Fallen Witcher is kind of a risky unit in a way. You need a lot of the correct items for him. You need that kind of good start to propel you going there. But when he did get there, it really made sense, right? Because even this God Divinity build and the Dragon Mage build, and especially the Glacier Knight build, they all have very tanky frontline, and Fallen Witcher with that powerful pure damage is shreds through those armies. And
Oh yeah.
a big proportion to why they're so good is that not only do they have sustainable damage, but they're all very tanky, right?
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see some different builds, mainly from the NA players yesterday in the
Right.
first 4 games of the Best of 8 series, and I honestly think that we might see some more because I feel like compared to the European qualifiers and the NA qualifiers, we always see the NA players kind of pushing the envelope in different ways, more so necessarily than the European players. But right into it here, Game 5 of the GLL House Cup Auto Chess Best of 8 Championship.
I almost feel a little bit sad, honestly.
This
We've been
is-
going on for
yeah.
so many games, even since first, and then there's 4 last remaining. What am I gonna do after this? It actually feels insane.
I've been so inspired by these
Yeah.
players, and I've personally learned a lot from their play styles and being able to watch over their gameplay over the past few days.
3-star or 2-star
Yeah.
Ranger for sure. What do you think?
Yeah.
I knew it.
How did
whenever
you know?
Whenever I see Exorcist Ranger, because this is one of the least picked units early game, they always lock it.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen countless times now. I'm beginning to see the patterns of these high-level games.
And of course, it's Chuck getting 3 of the same units in his first
good place to
round.
start. Yeah, and we've really seen. I'm really impressed by the start of the Asgard's Ranger because that's such a good start. If you get 2 other hunters, we've seen that extra flat damage from that synergy, really propelling them well into the mid game. And with a warrior frontline being so flexible, not only in the way that you can configure it against different kind of armies in the late game, also you can change that hunter backline into the ever so present dragon mage build. So really a strategy where you can start in the super strong in the early game, transition super easily. When getting all those 3 different dragons, you barely lose any gold nor life when you transition. So it's probably one of the most impressive kind of early to mid game into transitions I've seen from this tournament.
And all these players trying to get their 2 stars as quick as possible, trying to figure out which way they want to go as far as maybe dragons, mages, or transitioning into them. A lot of them picking up those God of Wars, as well as Hell Knights and Glaciers and Knights, and that's pretty much the main things we typically see early on, with the exception of maybe getting some Dwarven snipers in there, possibly a little Flaming Wizard action to try to get them that big burst damage in early in order to nuke out some of those opposing units.
So Chuck finding a Ripper and a Busselguard, trying to get as good of a start as possible. I mean, it's not very common that you see people going open port immediately. They kind of trying to want to win the first round, and if they do lose, you often see them kind of going on a lose streak, trying to hit interest points. Not necessarily going open fort, but you kind of don't want to meddle in the beginning. But we see him win the first round, and at this point he must be super static that he doesn't have to play against a super strong comp, because he's so close to getting a good warrior frontliner.
And Vincent picking up a 2-star Skybreaker, Neutron taking a 2-star Soulbreaker, so those 2 guys picking up pretty powerful starters. However, Chuck and Zugrug are the only ones 100% after the first PvP round, which is very uncommon. Yeah, that there's only 2 of them, so be happy that you're in the lone 2 and try to make something out of it. I do like Zugrug actually picking up the 2 Swordman pairs, of course, with the double Red Axe Chief. So he has a very high potential of power spiking as well. And he's, in fact, the only one that actually goes up to level 5, trying to maintain that win streak at this point. Plus, he knows that he's close to power spiking. So if he does, in fact, grab some of those pairs, that he can propel himself into a 100% win streak. But I think he's going to
Lose
here to Vincent, yeah, because he did get that double goblin start, and we could just swap over here to Vincent and just see how powerful his team is already.
This is so crazy good.
Oh man, that's like one of the things. Just how do you win a $20,000 tournament? Just high roll.
Yeah,
just high roll.
I mean, better luck than good, right? No, but seriously, both of these humans I mean, this God of War, we have talked about it being so powerful in the early game, and getting off that divinity buff is really powerful in the early game because that lets him cast his spells almost the double amount of time. And actually, two units that benefits greatly from this is Skybreaker, but especially Soulbreaker, that really deals a lot of extra damage with lower cooldown, as they have very powerful spell, both of them. As I say that, he does find a werewolf, and he gets to go to 5, so somehow he's managing to get a front line of 3 warriors without breaking the divinity buff and 2 2-stars, and this is almost like unheard of good of a start. I mean, I seriously think that Vincent will be win streaking for quite some time at this
Vincent's
point.
in a good spot here for sure. And when we talk about early game and how that god or divinity bonus is good early game, it's typically between rounds 4 through 15. And after that point, you really start wanting to either stick into full divinity and add in some like mages and warlocks, as we've seen, or you want to start just transitioning into something more common, such as dragons, mages at that point. But really trying to know exactly when to transition at this point and not relying on that divinity bonus for too long if that's not the units that you're being given.
For sure, yeah. We see a point where the divinity buff is kind of being, I mean, you get so many synergies at some point that at some point it's going to be stronger than the divinity buff, right?
Right.
You kind of change 1 or 2 units when you go up to 6, and here you go. Neutron actually also being kind of strong, but he does get to play against Vincent. That is immensely strong. It's actually going to be close here. And we do have a Flaming Wizard going up again, and Neutron very surprisingly holds against Vincent. Looking
that's what we
super
talked about
strong as
early,
well.
having those 2 basically 1-star or 1 unit nukes with Soulbreaker as well as Flaming Wizard. Not really caring too much about the divinity bonus for Neutron, and that's perfectly fine though, because he does have the humans, and he's not really sitting on a 2-star God of War, so he wouldn't benefit from it that much anyway, especially since the Lightblade Knight that he has is pretty stacked up with items, but it also doesn't use any skills, so it doesn't really care too much about that divinity bonus either. And so he's going to go ahead and take that unit out now and replace it with just another beefy unit such as the 2-star Defector.
Yeah, looking really good for Neutron. As one like target nukes is especially powerful in the early game, even Lightblade Paladin is immensely powerful. It's 2-star, especially with those staff items. I mean, Lightblade Paladin, one of his, Knight, Lightblade Knight's one of his weaknesses is that she really does have kind of slow attack speed, and when you do up that attack speed, as one of those units who kind of power spikes greatly by it, and it's also one of those few units that actually has efficient AoE damage at this point. Wow, we see a lot of big upgrades. T-Tigers finding that Silver Blade Knight, and we also see a Hell Knight and a Dragon Knight really early, letting T-Tigers actually get 4 Knights is early. That's crazy.
Yeah, wow, and a Berserker, that's insane. He's also going to throw in the, not only just the Berserker, but level up to 6 because he knows he's got a team behind him now that he can start winning. And he gets put up against Sizzle, who's actually anticlimactic. Yeah, we were like sitting here waiting, like, yeah, he's going to kill this guy, and then all of a sudden he gets put up against an open forter. But no worries, he does have already 5 Knights, and he's just looking for the Argalian Knight if he wants to go up to a very quick 6-Knight 2 Glacier comp, which used to be really, really good. And then you add in the Desperate Doctor and either the Fortune Teller later, but having those 6 Knights and 2 Glacier was used to be pretty intense. He actually goes ahead and sells the Dragon Knight because he knows that's not really in a 4-Knight 4 Glacier comp, and it's very expensive. This way he gets up to 10 gold, and very, very good on him for managing that economy and making that smart move, especially around 10.
Yeah, I mean, Dragon Knight is super precious in this metagame, but as he is this strong with Silver Blade Knight and Hell Knight at 2-star, you really want to start getting that interest back because, I mean, while you're being strong, if you fall back too much in economy, you're gonna... It won't matter at some point in the game, basically. Alright, let's have a look at the
Take a look at the items here. Lots of shields all the way across the board.
Fishhook for Neutron for that Silver Blade Knight. That's a super nice upgrade for him. Magic Crystals for Sagrog. Sagrog also has really nice items. In fact, that Magic Crystal being really good on wind. Ranger also finds 2 staffs and a Frantic Mask. So you could potentially make that Frenzy Mask, which is super nice. Let's have a look at Sagrog, see what he's working with, if he can put that on a efficient unit. Does have the Esargis Ranger, which does work with that Frantic Mass. He does put it on only at level 1, however, so not super strong, but it's always nice to have like a target for the Ranger for now. Really looking for a 3rd Ranger here, so he can get that increased flat out damage with a super, honestly, super strong front line. 2-star Red Axe Chief, 2-star Swordman, and 2-star God of War. Probably as tanky as it gets at this point, honestly.
Yeah, really the main archer that he's missing is going to be the Dwarf Sniper here, because that's the key to any hunter build, is having Dwarf Sniper. Of course, Wind Ranger could even get sold later on for Siren, especially since it does have those mana items as well. Then you add in the Aegis Ranger with a little Soul Reaper action, and you have that built-in Aegis bonus.
And this is really what we talked about, this lineup that have impressed me so much, is if you get this super efficient front line of warriors, you have a kind of opportunity to do kind of whatever you want with it. I mean, the Rangers are really good right now, as we see that Esargis bonus also being put in before he finds the 3rd Ranger. Even if you buy that Dwarf Sniper, which is also really good in the early game with that nuke, you can always sell all of them. You don't need to keep them around, and especially if you find that Dragon Mage backline, as we've seen, being super powerful in the late game.
Yeah, super flexible here, and he's up against Monty now, which I want to go check in on in a second, but he is actually running with the Spirits as well as some Warriors as well, and I've noticed Monty a lot lately actually taking the Cave Clan units early, and then sometimes even just 3-starring it and keeping it for the rest of the game. So something to look out for with Monty's build.
I think Sagrog is going to lose
pretty
here.
successful for him too.
Yeah, Sagrog is definitely getting beat here by Monty. Water Spirit is super strong against this Cave Clan front line, having that precious stun. And also a lot of magic damage, honestly, that goes right through that extra armor. Yeah, this is a nice start, honestly. He's starting to work on that dragon bonus, already having 2 pieces of the puzzle, only missing the Dragon Eye. It's going to be hard to find it at 5, of course, but being fully economized, going up to 6, he's probably going to get it pretty soon. Already finding a 2-star source, actually. So not too long away from having 3 mages as well. So kind of enabling his backline bit by bit here. Even if he gets 3 mages before he finds those dragons, that's really nice for his Water Spirit.
Yeah, and also he's really well economized and ready to start coming back now at this point, it looks like, because he did win that round and wants to make sure that he doesn't go from lose streaking into middling and then losing more HP. And like we said in the past many times, is that the ideal lose streak is to go straight from a lose streak, stop before you get to about 40% HP, and then turn it around and start win streaking right away. And unfortunately, he does get put up against Neutron, so it is going to take one of those turns away, because Neutron is extremely powerful right now, even though he does lose to T-Tigers, who is also extremely powerful, as we saw him picking up those very, very easy Hell Knight 2-star as well as the Lightblade 2-star.
Yeah, unfortunate matchup there for Monty, who's kind of relying on the power of his Water Spirit, going to face against Lightblade Paladin, who doesn't I would say Lightblade Paladin, but Lightblade Knight, not caring about that spirit buff. Actually finding another 2-star Water Spirit. I'm a big fan of this. This can actually transition into one of my favorite comps we haven't seen today, but we saw it doing some work previously in the qualifier. The idea is that you get that Water Spirit and potentially Queen to have that extra magic damage with your mages, so you're running 3 assassins with Venom and 3 dragons with Dragonite and Shining Dragon, and as well as adding that sword. So you get 3 mages, 3 dragons, 3 assassins, and some spirit bonus. That's kind of making your front line a little bit better, all about that burst damage.
Yeah, the other thing that's kind of cool too is that Stone Spirit actually just got removed from the mobile version.
Yeah.
So being able to kind of give him his one last hurrah here before, as we're in this tournament, because I would assume that once everybody moves into the Shanghai tournament, that he's no longer going to be in the game, or at least going to be out for some time before he gets rotated back. So giving a little ode to Stone Spirit here.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I like Monde's position here. He's definitely cooking some. Oh, is that a 2-star Storm Shaman? What? It's also close actually to a 3-star Tusk Champion. Sizzle starting to roll down a little. He wants to be able to kind of climb his wall back, already being under 30%. And this is kind of the scary part of loose streaking early. If you're going too low, you won't be able to as securely have that building up your economy again after you push for an all-in move. But at this point, I think with that 2-star Storm Shaman, he should be strong enough to survive for a couple rounds, or at least start to win streak again.
Yeah, his team's definitely looking really strong. He just needs to start figuring out a backline in order to give himself some damage, because right now he's really reliant on the Storm Shaman damage, which obviously is a lot. He has the Shadow Devil, which is of course a lot as well, but he needs to start looking at maybe some mages, which is probably what he's doing here with the Dragon Mages, and then that way he can probably switch out of something, or just make a 3-star.
And found the Dragon Knight as well, so
Yeah.
rolling down a little bit and is rewarded immediately. It needs to remove something. It's gonna be the Red X Chief, not giving that King Clan bonus unfortunately, but didn't have 3 warriors regardless. I'm not sure honestly if I like this. I would have liked to make the best units you have the strongest. If he would have kept that Red X Chief as well as the Stone Spirit, he could have actually had a 3 warrior front line to help his Tusk Champion, which is definitely his strongest unit in the early game, and also giving benefit to his second strongest unit. I'm not really sure which one is strongest at this point, but basically both of them with the Cave Clan, of course.
Yeah, this he's definitely got some decisions to make as far as who he's going to sell from his bench, because if he's trying to keep this Spirit bonus alive or this Warrior bonus alive, he has like a lot of different units from much higher level builds. And right now he's
it goes up to 8. I think he's
trying to go to 8. I'm
gonna
not
sell
sure how far
something
away
more.
he is.
Maybe a Pirate
Yeah,
Captain?
one more. There he goes. Okay, so
sell Stone Spirit.
not a bad decision here. This way he does get the 3 mages in, which is going to benefit the Thunder Spirit as well as the Shadow Devil a lot more. And the Dragon Knight, of course, he's really far away from a 2-star, which is when it actually starts doing that magic damage.
It's really strong, however. I mean, he has two kind of luxury units with mage buff, and that is both Storm Shaman and Shadow Devil, but both of them is immensely strong when you add that mage bonus, and also having a dragon backline. I think he has a lot of late game potential already, and it kind of makes sense that he moves in on his economy here, given that it's already under 30%, and I think we're gonna see Sizzle sizzling through and kind of start to build that win streak once more.
Yeah, he definitely needs to start building the economy as well now.
Yeah.
Same thing with Monty, already back up over 50 gold, has his 3 dragons as well as the spirit bonus, and honestly, I kind of like Monty's build a little bit better. He doesn't have some of those luxury units that are taking up space more or less for right now that he's going to have to sell later on. He's got a much cleaner team, I think is the word that I'm looking for. So Monty's looking in good shape, plus he's still economized where Sizzle went fully all in, and the other guys in the lobby do have to kind of recognize that, where he is level 8, and if you're trying to keep a win streak,
let's see
possibly match that
how
soon
clean
as well.
it actually is against Sizzle with that Sword Shaman. Going at the backline, it's gonna have no chance of Sizzle, but that is to be expected. And this is so typical for these lobbies. We've seen it all weekend that some players start becoming really strong, some players are taking a lot of damage in the lose streak. After round 15, people move in to make themselves a lot stronger, and it kind of starts this domino effect where the loose streakers become stronger than everyone else, starting to push their life total, and at some point they have to move in, usually at around round 21, to become stronger themselves. And while the loose streakers are economizing again, this kind of tilts back and forth, and it's gonna hash out who's the strongest in the end. So
we do see Hosty going with that traditional hunter build. The only thing that he is missing, again, is the most important piece out of a hunter build, which is Dwarf Sniper. And honestly, at this point, when I'm building hunters, I honestly don't even look at them unless I'm given a Dwarf Sniper, because that's your key. That's like your Hell Knight if you're trying to go Knights. That's your carry unit, you know? So something to keep in mind if you are being given a whole bunch of other units for hunters, just know that they're still going to be weak until you get that one main carry.
So having two direct examples of that domino effect, we went to two players who are both getting to play against Sissel, which is of course incredibly strong right now, and he's pushing the remainder of the lobby here. Chuck, actually, as you mentioned, is going that exact same hunter build, but I'm gonna use your own word here and say it's a lot cleaner. He does have that siren with the marine buff already, which is so nice for hunters. Also, the Soul Reaper for the Egersis Ranger, combining for that minus armor, alongside, as you said, Dwarf Sniper, the most important unit to really have. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, between Chuck's build and Hosty's build, I would take Chuck's build every single day, and they're pretty much close in HP. And he does actually pick up the Dwarf Sniper now, which is great. But I would still probably take Chuck's build.
Yeah, I mean, he has 4 of them, right?
Yeah, he's got 4 of them, plus he has the Soul Reaper 2-star really close by. And of course, the Egersis Ranger 3-star is only two clicks away too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Chuck's looking real nice. Also, Hosty has that Evil Knight too, which is kind of awkward. You really want that, as you said, Soul Reaper instead, and it's probably gonna take a bit hit on his economy when we see a T-Tigers actually finding the 3-star Hell Knight while being quite economized. And this is really a testimony to the domino effect. At round 21, we saw a lot of people spending their gold because the bottom pair has become much stronger, and economizing a couple of turns, even of the creep round, you have enough gold to kind of move in and then start re-economizing again. So yeah, T-Tag is looking really strong right now, even close to a 3-star Lightblade Knight. Wow.
Yeah, he's just missing 1 Glacier, I believe it is. So
yeah,
he does have, of course, Desperate Doctor, as we call him, Despacito. He has a 3-star Frost Knight and a pair of Berserkers, but if he can just find himself 1, it doesn't really matter whether it's Fortune Teller or Defector at this point. If he just gets 1, it would really make this Hell Knight come alive with the extra attack speed, also these Lightblade Knights as well.
Yeah, yeah, and we mentioned earlier how much Lightblade Knight loves that extra attack speed when we talked about the Woodstaff earlier. Unfortunately, T-Tires doesn't really have tons of great items for Lightblade Knight as of yet, but he's looking super strong. I mean, honestly, he's on his way to get a pretty big buff if he finds another Glacier unit. Does find Soul Reaper in the meantime, however, so he can turn on that Egersis bonus. However, he does find a Fortune Teller anyway, so at this point he becomes quite a lot stronger, also putting in that Soul Reaper instead of that Lightblade Knight. So T-Tigers kind of hit his peak when it comes to synergy. So being at 0 gold and at the top of the standings in terms of life points, we're gonna see him re-economize for sure.
Yeah, he needs to re-economize and then hope for some of these to just naturally roll into, as far as
that, though.
2-star Berserker, Evil Knight, and then that 3-star Lightblade. But yeah, he's getting really worked over by Monty, and that's kind of the reason why he actually was going in and rolling for those units, because he knew that the lobby was getting stronger and he was trying to keep up pace with them. As we've talked about in the past many times, it's just unfortunate that he did run into a 2-star Dragon Knight and a fully functioning Mage Dragon team.
Yeah, Jesus, Monty's build is looking really nice. He already has 30 gold again, so yeah, I'm actually liking Monty's position here. He's still over 30%, which is kind of the golden standard for the loose streakers. Also, I like his frontline. Swordman, of course, working real well with that mage bonus,
Yeah.
as well as a relish. Oh, and he has the God of Thunder high roll already, so...
Yeah, not to mention the God of Thunder, so that way he just needs the Thunder Spirit. It can run with 6 mages, dragons, which is also extremely powerful.
He's gonna fit it all, though. You do want a lot of humans with this build. He only has the Pirate Captain in his front line, so he's gonna... To have 4 humans with Dragonites, he's gonna need at least 2 of his mages to be humans as well.
Just go up to 9, throw in the Tortola Elder, and then he can also remove some of those warriors, probably Red Axe Chief, honestly, and then that way he can give up the warrior bonus for that so powerful 6 mage bonus.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Is sometimes a better option.
Yeah, we sometimes see 6 mages happening when some of the players high roll an early God of Thunder. That's really one of the harder pieces to come by when you're going for 6 mages. So yeah, Monte looking nice. T-Tigers, he did lose his streak, but what about Chuck? He's in 2nd place and of course 1st in our NA lobby in terms of overall points from this tournament. Has hit a few power spike, found his Soul Reaper too. Also has a 2-star Razor Claw, kind of off build, but does work really well with a Werewolf, turning on the Beast buff. Hunters, they have a lot of physical damage, so they're gonna benefit from that quite a lot, especially that Dwarf Sniper in the backline.
Against Neutron right now with his very
shiny.
Yeah, very nice. I was gonna say nice Knight's Glacier, but honestly the 3 stars that he's got is pretty much nothing in comparison to what T-Tigers is building, and probably a testament as to why he doesn't have them is because T-Tigers has all of the units he's looking for. And let's go ahead and drop in on Hosty. Yeah, because he's got 54 gold, 11% HP. He's going into a creep run right now, which he may have been waiting for before spending his gold, but sometimes it just gets you into a position where...
It does, however, it makes sense for... Yeah.
I know, but like at this point...
Can we look at his match history, actually?
Yeah, we can, but I'm just saying at this point,
okay,
it's
he has been losing. All right. I thought it was because we saw the win streak from the previous player. I thought he had been winning a lot in a row from going all in. So if that happens, it makes sense that you economize to make another push. But actually, as you said, Hosty has been losing a lot towards where you kind of want to stabilize before you economize. So super scary for him. But however, in one way, it does make sense that Host is taking a few more risks because he is not doing so well on the overall leaderboard, so maybe taking that extra economy risk to become stronger and being lucky enough to not face the strongest opponents while kind of pushing his way through the standings of this lobby with a bit more money, a bit more punch.
Yeah, we see a lot of items across the board.
This is crazy, actually.
I would say Vincent's got some of the best items out of everybody with the Heaven's Gift, Dragon Bone Shield, as well as the that sword as well, the Hextech Gunblade.
Oh yeah.
And then of course Neutron almost to a Refresher Orb. And Hosty's got some pretty good items as well for him.
So what did it hit now that it went all in? It did find Doom Arbiter 2, Pirate Captain 2, Venomous 2 also being super nice, enabling both a Warlock bonus but also some extra minus armor for that physical damage. I really like Host's build right now. It's very clean.
Yeah.
The only issue is his HP, so he's gonna look to kind of streak all his way to the top again and then maybe push for 9 once he had exact the amount of gold he needs for that. But I was about to say it does lose against Neutron, but he does get a draw, which I think is super happy about. He doesn't care as much about the win streak now that it is about caring about his life total, getting that last second Dwarf Sniper ult off on the Light Blade Knight.
Yeah, it's crazy. When he rolled down there for that 40 gold, he did actually get a full Soul Reaper 2-star all in that one go. Because he had an Evil Knight there, and able to add in that Warlock bonus is actually super huge. Checking in on Sizzle, his 2-star Tortola Elder frontlined because he doesn't have any mana items on it, and he also doesn't have a source. So
Yeah.
Sometimes people do that in order to get the mana, but it's also a little scary because not always do they get that ultimate off, which is super, super useful. Yeah, key.
This
I think
is a
it's a better word
scary,
for sure.
scary, scary opponent to play against. Two of those precious knights being a 3-star, meaning they will survive most of the burst, and usually it ends up with Lightblade Knight being one of the last ones surviving, as well as Hell Knight. And this is really how important it is for the Knight players to get 3 stars, because it's not really about the damage, but it's about them being tank enough to survive the initial mage damage from kind of their bursty spells, and then kind of clean up afterwards as they're getting more and more shields stacked up.
Yeah, definitely about that sustainability here, and a lot of our players now rolled in pretty much as far as they can go. Hosi down to 1% HP, Sizzle at 17% HP, probably going to make a move with that 28 gold. Same thing with Zugrug as well at 18% HP. I would look to see him doing something with that, possibly looking for a 3-star Aegis Ranger, but there are a lot of Hunter players in this lobby right now, so not a lot of opportunity for upgrades. Vincent finally picking up his 2-star Dragonite, plus he's got that 3-star God of War with the Dragon Bone Shield. And as we've seen, he does have that Ghost Blade. I've called it a Hextech Cone Blade, but it is a Ghost Blade
yeah.
on him as well. And we've seen him in the past with some poor luck with the Dragonite, with some of those items that he puts on him, causing him not to transform. But I think he should be okay right now. We're just hoping that he is, because what are the chances that it could happen 3 times?
I almost get scared for a second.
Yeah.
He kind of frame lags into the transformation, but yeah, Vincent looking really strong with that front line of God of War, also enabling the warrior buff with 4 humans. Actually having a Heaven's Gift, I think, on that 3-star God of War. We've seen that being ever so powerful. And yeah, it does seem like Host is going out at our 8th position. Zugrug is kind of on the shopping block. Sizzle is still taking damage. He does have 30 gold to roll down with, or actually level up. I think Sizzle is looking for an upgrade with a few. Let's have a look at his lineup once the kind of battle clears. Oh, he's still rocking that Storm Shaman 2, Shadow Devil 2. Kind of a spread lineup. It's kind of weird that he got the Shadow Devil early, as well as the Storm Shaman. It's 2 units you don't really want to remove, as they do cost a lot of gold to invest into. And not only that, they are kind of powerful, honestly, but sometimes they can make it a little bit harder to enable some of your synergies. Oh, does find a Pirate Captain, actually. It's not gonna add another synergy of any sense, but we've seen Pirate Captain being super strong not only for its CC, but actually dealing quite a lot of damage with the mage buff from the Ghost Ship.
Yeah, personally I think this 3-star Tusk champion is kind of baiting him a little bit for the most part, because he is missing out on quite a few important things because he is keeping that in there.
Yeah.
Source would give him 4 humans and might potentially add more value, where he can then backline his Tortola Elder as well. But I know it's always super hard to
Zugrug going out
to sell 3 stars, and yeah, Zugrug does get defeated by Neutron actually. So let's go ahead and take a look at him building those 3-star Knights Glaciers.
Yeah, does have Light Blade Knight at 3-star. Probably the most important unit alongside the Hell Knight to get the 3-star. Really depends on which items you get, which one is more important, but you definitely do want both of them. The Factor 3, not really as important to get the 3-star, but it is nice to have it, as it's all about surviving an initial burst, and if it has a bit more health, it could maybe get another Hex off. Not useless whatsoever. And with that, we actually see a Storm Shaman on the bench. We've seen this time and time again, not only because it's a kind of mage infected meta game, but if you get a high level defector, why not add a Storm Shaman for that Shaman buff, transforming some of the key units into a duck at the beginning of the fight.
Yeah, actually picks up a race chart, which is really nice for him. The other kind of, I guess, decision that Neutron is faced with is whether he wants to level up or if he wants to roll for that 3-star Hell Knight, because he's only 2 away, but he does decide to level up to 9 to throw in that 1-star Storm Shaman. Not really 100% sure if that was really...
Christ.
Yeah, he's got a really stacked live play at night if I've ever seen one. But he does decide to go up to put that Storm Shaman in. I just feel like he could have maybe had a little bit better luck in going for the 3-star Hell Knight instead. He just needed to pick up 2 and then econing back up because it is so important. And I think it's more important than adding in a 1-star Storm Shaman, in my opinion.
Sure. Yeah, maybe he felt like it was more of a gamble to hit that at 31. I mean, a lot of people hitting a lot of power spikes at round 31 being after a creep round and was a little bit scared. It was too much of a gamble. So levels up to 9, make sure he gets a power spike, and then he's gonna, with that power spike, try to head over to the Hell Knight 3. Yeah, this light blue paladin is real nice.
12,300 damage.
Yeah, not only does it have Mjolnir, but I think I saw another. I can't remember what the name is.
It's the you got that one?
No. Yeah, that's why I asked you, my friend.
It's the Monkey King bar. So
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
it can't
it's
be
called,
dodged.
called out here as well. Like just like Dota, Auto Chess, and Dota 2, and whatever Dota game has ever been around. It's kind of the item of the age. It's been around for as long as I've been playing Dota, basically.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's not really any feathered players, so you can't take full use of it, but it does add some nice attack speed and attack damage.
Yeah,
Nice.
this light blade knight is just crushing this army.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, man. I mean, the Hunter backline just. Oh, and we actually see Cecil going out here against Monty. Let's have a look at Monty, seeing him right here, right now. He does have that 2-star source in with that Tortova Elder. Yeah, it's looking really nice. Oh, Monty was the one who found the God of Thunder, right? So I do assume he's at 6 mages right about now. Yes, exactly. So super strong. Also has Pirate Captain that really benefits from 6 mages, honestly. Dealing so much damage and giving the mages a little bit more time to get their spells off.
Also has a pretty nice item set on his Dragon Knight 2-star with Wraith Shard, really close to a Mjolnir as well on his Dragon Knight. So if he does get that, maybe around 35 or 40, that would be a huge upgrade. Just needs that Fish Fork in order to make the Mjolnir. Also Puppet Mask and Shadow Edge, really nice items at the same time. So
for sure, yeah.
Looking pretty good right now. Monty over another Dragon Mage player, which is Vince. And between the two,
I like Monty better right now, honestly.
yeah, there's benefits to both, of course. I think Vincent has a little bit of an upper hand to the Knights players because of that God of War being able to take so much damage from the 3-star Hell Knights.
I think this might go out here. I mean, this Hell Knight is not going to get killed anytime soon. He does have that Animated Cloak. It's getting hit by that Dragon Knight now quite a bit, but it's not going to be enough as... Oh, as I say that...
I think he's okay.
Yeah, he is okay, but barely. Vincent only at 5%. Really needed those wins to keep alive, yeah.
Yeah, so he won against T-Tigers, which is the... I mean, he's been stacked up for quite a while now with those 3-star Knights. And Chuck lost to Vincent pretty badly at the same time. So I think Vincent, depending on who he gets put up against, should be able to at least last until round 35. However, if he gets put up against Monty, I'm not sure if he necessarily wins that matchup. Because Monty's pretty much Vincent's team, just a little bit better. And we can actually see that right here.
Yeah, let's see if that... Actually, I think a bit testament to this fight is that Pirate Captain being the only frontline, of course, is going to get human silence immediately, not getting off his pirate ghost ship, and that means that he does fall. Chuck actually being defeated first, losing a ton of life against Neutron. Going up in one quick swing.
Chuck, our #1 player right now, going out at 5th. I don't think that #1 status is going to change too much with this particular game. Of course, T-Tigers is currently bringing up the rear, so he really needs this win in order to get himself back into this lobby. We do have Neutron as well, looking to gain some points. Monty is the only one that's still fully economized, so he has quite some time to roll down for a God of Thunder 2-star, or
Pretty
go up
close
to
also.
level 10 and throw in a Doom as well if he would like to.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised he would. I mean, this Zoom is free right now because he does indeed still have 50 gold, so hitting as much interest as he can, but with that Doom, it's actually not going to give him a warrior bonus in the front line. Maybe it's going to find maybe a Dark Spirit to enable the Spirit buff at 10, together with that Thunder Spirit also being able to deal with those pesky Knight players.
And he does. Monty actually picks up a Mjolnir for
Yeah,
his
wow. Is he
for
gonna
his
enable
Dragon
it?
Knight. I'm sure he's going to. If we can slide over there.
Hasn't enabled it yet. Kind of surprising. Oh, it does find the God of War too for Monty, so that's huge actually.
Yeah, God of Thunder.
Oh, sorry, God of
Yeah.
Thunder. Yeah, super strong right now. Let's see if the Storm Shaman actually pops off. That's gonna kind of be the detriment to who's gonna win this round. But as we've seen time and time again, Storm Shaman is just too slow to get his spell off, and is that gonna be enough for Monty to win? It does indeed seem like it. Vincent kind of on the chopping block in terms of health, but we do know that Vincent is super strong right now. Neutron taking buttload of damage here, going down to single digits. T-Tiger is still at 12%, hasn't really gone down below 10, but does find an Evil Knight 3. And honestly, I think this is one of the luxury units, if you will, but I do think it's super strong here because it's kind of all about tanking at this moment.
Yeah,
There's so much burst damage.
The first 3-star Evil Knight that we've actually seen
in the tournament.
Yeah. And the only reason why he went for it, just so that way you guys don't get confused, is because he already has the other key units that he's looking for, which is Hell Knight and Lightblade Knight. And if he didn't have those already, I guarantee you he wouldn't be looking for a 3-star Evil Knight.
Yeah, this matchup is tough though against Neutron. You know why? Not because he's necessarily weaker in terms of comp, but we know that Neutron's Lightblade Knight is just immensely powerful, and it's gonna chunk T-Tigers down to 2%. Neutron winning on his side of the board, Vincent going out. Monty still at 10 with, what did he put in actually as his 10th unit? I'm kind of
It was an
dying to
extra
see that.
dragon.
No. Did he find that Dark Spirit to put in that we talked about? He did not. Oh, he put in a Storm Shaman one. Okay, yeah, that does make sense.
I don't think he needs that anymore because he is up against 2 Knights players.
Right. It is a lot of magic damage still though, and I'm not gonna say that Knights has the most powerful spells, but some of them are decently important, you know. Yeah, but it's very possible. I mean, if it does find a Dark Spirit, I'm sure he would want that instead. Does find a 2-star Thunder Spirit, not something to scoff at because every life point at this moment does matter.
Sure.
Oh, finds a Dragonite too, so this is definitely better. I'm super surprised about him not making the Mjolnir here.
Could be concerned.
Yeah.
Possibly concerned.
We're gonna leave it at that. Yeah, T-Tigers does have that Evil Knight 3. I do want to see that Evil Knight in this battle. Does get hexed immediately, kind of sad. You see a bunch of lightning jumping around left and right from Neutron. Does have that Storm Shaman too, and does crush T-Tigers again. Much to a testament to his Lightblade Knight being so powerful. Basically, in a war of attrition between the 2 Knight players, the one who kind of has the more backline damage is usually going to win the fight if their compositions are similar.
Yeah, just down to Monty and Neutron right now, and I really think that Monty can probably knock him out here. Of course, Neutron's doing just so much damage, so with this Lightblade Knight, it's going to be kind of scary. Yeah. But I think in the past, Neutron was able to beat Monty on his end, only by 2 though, which I'm guessing was probably the Hell Knight and the Lightblade Knight as always.
Usually that's the case, yeah.
Xing the God of Thunder, so that's a huge bonus, especially since that's a whole lot of the...
for him.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of the damage.
How about Monty? How is he faring on his board? Yeah, Lightblade Knight as usual, the only one to survive, and only the Lightblade Paladin in play, however, at the end, so you can definitely see that going the other way, but he does find that Desperate Despacito at 3-star with that Quinzo or that Hex Scythe of Vice. Super, super powerful at this point. Really gets off his stun so quickly. And only 2 items away coming into the Glacier clan for that Orb of Refresher. That's so, so sick if he does get that indeed. Yeah, Neutron is immensely powerful with probably the most 3-stars I've seen from a Nightblade in a while, honestly. Let's have a look at the items they're indeed gonna get. Life Crystal, there we go. That's it.
Well,
the first, no, it was a Life Crystal. Oh,
yeah,
I thought it was a Life Ring or Ring of Generation. I get so excited there for a second.
Trust me, I've made the same thing when I'm playing my game sometimes. But yeah, it is at least a bunch of magic crystals that he can throw onto a few of his units. Sometimes maybe a little defector, but I would
20k damage from the Lightblade Knight.
Storm Shaman, yeah. This is still not
yeah, I mean, Monte's kind of losing his fights, only so barely, but I would really want to see him going for that Mjolnir. I mean, maybe he's scared about his Dragonite transforming. We've had some issues with that previously, but at this point, you kind of gonna take the every chance you can get. However, his God of Thunder did get quite an upgrade with that staff, so maybe think that's gonna be enough. Doesn't seem like, I'm not even sure he got his skull off. Doesn't seem like, yeah, Monte going out here as a result, being human silenced or just bursted down way too quickly. We have Neutron taking the first game. Super impressive Lightblade Knight. I mean, that's probably the most stacked I've seen so far.
I mean, if you're Monty, there's not much you can do against that. Of course, he did have a Mjolnir of his own, and again, we said he might have been scared or nervous, or maybe just felt like it would have, you know, not have been the best option for whatever reasons he might have had.
I'm gonna guess he forgot about it. I'm gonna put it out there. I mean, these are the best players in the world, but they're still human. Yeah. Except for maybe the zone. But
does it not
still
give you a notification though on the PC version? I don't know. I haven't actually seen it if it does or not. But either way, that was a very impressive gameplay from Neutron. So congratulations to him taking game 5. Very intense.
Very typical lineups as well from this metagame. But we're gonna get more into that after the break, and then we're gonna have an updated scoreboard for you as well. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 4 minutes. Welcome back to the House Cup here at GLL. I'm joined by Claytano. I'm Joe Larson. We just had a 5th game of the NA qualifier finals, trying to go to Shanghai, where there's $1 million on the line. The qualifier itself have 20k on the line. We've had a European playing their 8 games, of course. You can check up on the scoreboard, probably on Twitter and social media, yeah. But we're here, as I said, for the NI qualifiers, and we have the scoreboard coming up. I know you guys have been asking for it, so let's see how that change. Chuck still in first place at 29 points. We have Sissel not too far behind, along with Vince at 26. Very close now in the top, actually. Monte at 22, Neutron at 20, T-Tiger 16, Sagrug 15, Hosey 11. So Hosey is the only player that's really far behind. I honestly think it's super close in the top 4, actually all the way down to 5th place. So if there's anything that this game did, it was making this whole qualifier a lot closer.
Yeah, I mean, we have Neutron trailing right behind the 4 qualifying places now with that big win, picking up 9 points. So really, it's anyone's game still at this point. T-Tiger's even climbing his way back into things now after having a rough start yesterday. Definitely has a chance to earn his spot to Shanghai as well.
Right. There's so many people there in the bottom that I'm like, oh, I didn't expect this. This is one of the favorites, of course, and I mean, they're all favorites.
At this point, yeah, I was gonna say they're all favorites. They're all here, and Chuck though is still playing very smart, even though he took a little bit of a lower rank this game. I mean, it's still, I think it was 5th.
Yeah.
He still really doesn't have anything to worry about unless he gets something really low and hits that a couple more times out of the next 3 games, which I don't think is going to happen. He should be in good shape. regardless. Speaking of Chuck, we're going to get right into Game 6 of the GLL House Cup Auto Chess NA Championship.
Yep. Here we go. Starting with that Soul Breaker, we've seen it being ever so powerful. Kind of the favorite unit of the zone, which was kind of the most dominant player in the EU region. Sometimes even getting that to 3-star, but the testament to why Soul Breaker is so good is that it does have a ton of damage early in the game, usually goes for the backline first, has that powerful nuke, and not only that, is a part of one of the strongest synergies being the goblins in the early game. So we actually see tons of upgrades already at round 2, 2 Soul Breaker 2 stars, alongside with Chuck's 2 1-star Soul Breaker. So ton of those already.
Yeah, Tigers, Sizzle, and Vincent all picking up 2 stars right off of round 2, which is actually pretty insane, to be completely honest. You would kind of expect that from Chuck, but he wasn't. Yeah, he'll get there. He's still got time. He's got that
counted down, my
pair
friend.
of Soul Breakers and the Skybreaker.
And 3, 2, 1, boom! I told you.
Without fail. I mean, honestly, without fail.
First with the Aerosis Ranger, now with the Soul Breaker.
Yeah.
If one could protect the future, it would be me.
In fact, I'm not even going to put it past him to potentially get another 2-star before this this PvP rounds begin, to be completely honest. Neutron with the 3 warriors start. Vincent, of course, picking up another pair of goblins, so he's in a really good position as well. Zugrug with a 2-star red Axe Chief, along with 2 1-star God of War, so he's right along his way as well. And look at this Defector in the shadows over here. Kind of has a little more of a blue tint to him. I'm always
hiding away. Probably a good option, since that's usually sold, and he wants to be a part of this game still.
Yeah. He's, I mean, he's got the hat, he's got the dress. He actually fits right in with this board quite nicely.
For sure. We see that Fallen Witcher early. Fallen Witcher is kind of nice in the early game, especially if you have a magic crystal. The only real fear for the Fallen Witchers is that heavy burst damage and some crowd control, something we don't see a lot of in the early game. So can definitely get a transformation off and deal a lot of damage. Monte hitting that 2-star God of War alongside the Divinity buff, as is so important before round 12 or so, alongside with 3 warriors. So this is a really nice start. It's actually harder to pull off than you think, because some of these early warriors, like the Werewolf and the Tux Champion or the Cape Dance, they actually share a racial synergy, so that won't make them able to use the Divinity buff, but does lose against Tigers. Soulbreaker is like the best unit against the God of War, I feel like. It's very good at hitting it in the back, and also the magic damage kind of goes right through that extra reduction from his skill.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Monty's got a super good start, but apparently not good enough, and I'm sure he was really hoping to win that round 4. Going to round 5, though, adds another Skybreaker along. Also gets a Soulbreaker of his own, but he does still have 3 goblins that if he finds maybe a Skybreaker 2-star, he can swap out Abyssal Guard as well as Swordman, add in the Goblin buff as well. He's got options, of course, but we'll see what he ends up doing with it. Monty, one of those players that's looking to really solidify himself into the Shanghai tournament as well. And Sizzle, someone who has really had a great day 1 of the best of 8 series, the first 4 games, so he's looking to get back into it as well with his 2-star Soulbreaker and 2-star Red Axe Chief now.
Yeah, Sizzle looking real strong. He has a good front line with 2 extra armor items and that Soulbreaker kind of poking alongside those 2 other assassins in the backline. This is a super nice start, you know. I'm a big fan of it, and here we go. My favorite strategy is online. Of course, that Dragon,
so many 2-star pickups here as well.
Mage, Assassin, Spirit, basically all of the synergies in the world, making use of heavy burst damage along some mage buff later on in the round. But when you get that 2-star Queen so early, she's so strong, it has that AoE magical damage that goes through the tanky front lines, and that can really propel that strategy into a long win streak, and also solidify yourself into the late game with some 3-star units of Water Spirit or Queen.
Yeah, Vincent actually now picking up another couple of 2-stars with a 2-star Heaven Bomber and a 2-star Exorcist, along with his 2-star
he's super
Soulbreaker.
strong. He actually lost 1 round Kind of
he lost
surprising.
round 4, but he's able to. I mean, if you're going to lose a round early, round 4 is the one to do it on, and then just win streak from there. But there are a lot of strong players right now.
Yeah,
due
people are
to
kind of high rolling left and right, honestly.
We actually did see that in yesterday's first game as well, game 1, and actually T Tigers kind of selling off that fallen Witcher.
And we see why.
Unfortunately, yeah, put in the 3 hunters, which we've seen a lot of success from in the early game, and of course the double 2-star goblins as well.
Yeah, looking to go up to 6 pretty soon, I'm sure. Probably gonna sell the 3 units here if he does win this round. Trying to go up to 6 immediately after, putting in another goblin. And he actually sees immediately that, oh, this is just 1-star units. I'll sell them immediately. Won't lose any time doing that, so he can use that extra precious time to look at what his opponents are doing, because that's a really big integral part of who's successful in these games. You gotta see what people are going for, so you can act accordingly. Some strategies, as we said, kind of a rock paper metagame, especially in the European qualifiers. So finding basically the right tool to use, whether it's rock paper scissors, is something to look at.
Yeah, it's actually really nice to see T Tigers playing from ahead these couple of games, because he wasn't have too much luck yesterday, and he's really expected to be up there pretty much every single game. So quite nice to see him getting a little bit of his groove back, it looks like, from the start of this game 6.
Yeah.
So taking a look at Hosty, though, someone who has been struggling a little bit on the early game, and he is valuing Cave Clan bonus over potentially putting in a touch champion to give himself that god bonus. He's also lose streaking, which could be a reason why he's doing that. Again, we have talked about, though, valuing and how much of a value that divinity bonus is or isn't. And I think just in this case, he's been lose streaking a lot this tournament and not really having the best of luck with it, unfortunately. He ends up now putting in another Stone Spirit, and probably going to be selling his unicorn here if he doesn't happen to win this round.
Yeah.
Which honestly, he doesn't really want to win this round, because that would be pretty disastrous to lose this going into the creep round at round 10.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we do see sometimes people super happy about being able to keep that unicorn to later piggyback it into a free gold unit to sell. But if you have a lose streak, I mean, that's worth 2 gold, so probably just gonna sell one of them after he loses against Sagrag. Sagrag actually losing against Sissel last round. The player is playing the kind of assassin mage build, if you will, that I'm such a big fan of, that it's kind of transferred its way from another auto battle game where it's been usually popular being Dota Unlord. So super interesting to see that players are taking inspiration across games and kind of making their repertoire of builds a little bit bigger. So we'll see if he's gonna keep it into the late game as well.
Yeah, so just a quick look at the items here as we get into round 10. Sizzle with the short end of the stick, Vincent also with a bit of a short end here as well, but could turn it around with the pickup of a Kira Axe and potentially a Dracula Mask. Could make Vincent actually super strong with a pair of very specific items.
Yeah.
Also Hosty sitting on half of a Refresher Orb, same with Neutron, but I mean Neutron obviously with the golden drops here so far.
Basically, yeah. Tons of items only from the first 3 rounds, so pretty lucky there. And yeah, what is he looking at in terms of comp? Because I feel like Neutron has been middling a little bit in this game. It's not level 6, it's not really lose streaking for so long. I guess he has been lose streaking, but his bench is kind of thick, so he's not getting the most value of it, because soon you need to be able to turn around that, especially around that round 15. Does find 2 upgrades here. Probably still wants to lose streak a bit more until he gets up to that 50 gold, and then you can start looking at turning it around. Maybe he's gonna put in that Fortress Teller. He does do that exact thing, so you can be a little bit more protected while lose streaking as well. Does actually take out that Abyssal Guard. I think the Abyssal Guard did have a ton of items, so kind of making himself a little bit weaker to make sure, or not making sure, but making the chances a little bit bigger that he will lose once more.
Yeah, this is an insane difference between not only the first and last of the gold acquired chart, but also the fact that they're right next to each other in HP, and the fact that T Tigers is able to not only go 100% compared to Sizzle going 97%, but Sizzle is actually going to take a loss here.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
does
that's
T
so
Tigers,
disastrous.
actually.
Yeah, that is disastrous for both players, but especially CCSub, which was a lot more dependent on that win streak, having a lot less gold than T Tigers, which has already kind of sprinted ahead of most players in terms of gold. Still, maybe trying to go for 6 assassins. Actually, I like this a lot less.
Yeah, honestly, with his economy right now, I wouldn't be surprised if Sizzle takes an 8th in this round.
Me neither. I really think that the kind of mage magic damage kind of assassin is a lot better, and that strategy can also transition quite well into other kind of mage dragon builds. So yeah, kind of surprised he goes for this. And honestly, during the qualifier, this has been a recipe for disaster. Honestly, I think that only one assassin player has been in fifth
Top
place.
4. It was 4th.
Fourth.
Yeah, but still, that's about as good as
that's
it
kind
got.
of bad. Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, I mean, at this point, looking at his board, his economy, and different things, and knowing that he's kind of lost his win streak, and is now starting a lose streak into assassins,
Yeah.
I would be really worried right now if I was Sizzle and trying to come up with something to come back from, because at this point the game is almost over for him already.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. What is Vincent working with? I'm kind of curious. Okay, he still has a ton of 2 stars. That's probably the reason why he's still winning. Has that aggressive bonus from the Evil Knight, which is kind of nice. He doesn't have a ton of physical damage. That Soulbreaker has some of it, but basically the rest of his damage is actually magical. However, he does have 3 2-star goblins, and with that goblin buff, is really strong until around 16, 17 or so. Then it's when it's starting to fall off a little bit, and that's when you need to start thinking about transitioning. Part of the reason being that a lot of the loose streakers will try to be able to come back at that point, and then the goblins isn't really enough to suffice.
Yeah, and Vincent, actually one of the guys that I wouldn't be surprised if he actually tries a goblin gamble, but he's probably looking at something a little different if I had to guess. Does have 2 Shadow Devils though, which does work nice in a goblin gamble. He's pretty well economized, running a win streak right now. Only him and T Tigers are level 7, so a couple different things need to happen for him to actually get that working. But I know he said in the past where he actually had a game in the qualifiers where he was going into a goblin gamble and then just decided to give up on it. And he wishes he didn't, because he could have gotten so much of a higher place if he just stuck with it and believed in it.
I remember that.
But he did pick up a 2-star Shadow Devil, so not too bad right now. Also added in a little bit of more CC, and just hoping that he can get through round 14, so that way he can keep his 8-win streak going into one more creep round.
Does face against Chuck, and this kind of one of the meddling players. Does have a 2-star Hell Knight on the other side of the board. Does have a 2-star Soulbreaker as well, but it's actually not really attacking the backline. Actually attacking the Evil Knight, which is probably the least precious target for Vincent, honestly. Only there for kind of the aggressive bonus, and doesn't really offer a ton more, except for kind of a meat shield.
Yeah, so he's going to be just fine going into round 15, and really well economized, and probably going to end up going to 8, I would believe. Round 17, if I had to guess.
Very typical of this Vincent also. We have really seen him push the envelope of when he does get that lead. He doesn't care much about economizing so much, but does like to level up quicker than most other players in this lobby. And that kind of creates a unique effect of accelerating the domino effect of the kind of strong players attacking the lower tier of the loose streakers. And
yeah, and as he says, no matter what you do, as long as you keep your win streak, you did something right.
Yeah.
So
that does sound like a fitting quote, honestly.
Yes, it's definitely something that he says quite often. And just another quick look at the items here as we go into round 15, what these players are going to be looking for. And
Sagra close to Heaven's Gift. That would be amazing on his God of War. Already having a life crystal there, so only needs a shield to kind of finish that. Or no, sorry, actually a Vanguard, right? Yeah, that would actually be amazing for him. Tigers actually won't win against the Wolves, and that is devastating.
Yeah, that's pretty upsetting, especially since for Tigers, he's actually sitting on a lot of random items that don't really do anything by themselves, unfortunately. I mean, of course the Magic Crystal is nice, of course the sticks are nice, but being able to pair them with something to give them that little extra power is always going to be nice.
Does find the Dragonite too. I was kind of worried about him because he was playing a Shining Assassin and some 1-stars to finish an Assassin build, and Assassins is really bad against creep rounds. Usually they're a little bit too squishy and their burst damage isn't really enough to bring the Wolves down, but he does sell that Shining Assassins once he finds the Dragonite to complete the Dragon bonus, and we've seen that being so strong, being kind of a low-cost improvement to their team.
Yeah.
This Soulbreaker is going havoc on the Shadow Devil in the back, and alongside Flaming Wizard is able to finish that Werewolf as well before it goes off. It's not going to be enough here, though, I didn't think.
It's crazy that it was that close, in my opinion, because T-Tiger's team did look really, I mean, super one-star, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
super one-star.
Super one-star.
That's a good word for it, honestly.
Yeah, going up against Hosty with those 2 stars, especially the 2-star Thunder Spirit, I'm surprised it was actually as close as it was.
Yeah, no, for sure. And
like, this is the team he was
let's
up
have
against.
a look at Vincent. He does go up to 8 at 17, just like you predicted. It's also rolling down a little bit, trying to figure out which unit to add here. Let's find a Strange Egg. Has a lot of unicorns in the backline. Finally finds a Flaming Wizard, so he's probably gonna sell some units to get that mage bonus in. Does actually go with the beast buff alongside some humans. Does have 4 humans at this point, but would be super happy about getting that mage buff, and I think it's gonna cut probably the werewolf once that happens. Maybe even keeping it on the bench, honestly, for later, because at some point you do want to remove those goblins, and at that point werewolf is actually nice when you have that mage backline, adding a bit of a buffer with the wolves, but also counting as a human.
Yeah, pretty smooth transition for Vincent, honestly, going to something a little bit more meta-relevant rather than still just relying on going into the goblins. And as fun as the goblin gamble is, and as much as you and I both want to see it along with the fans at home, I really don't think it was in Vincent's best interest to actually go ahead and try it when there's so much on the line.
A good sign of the Goblin Gambler is usually when people 2-star Ripper. That is gold you have invested into a unit that will not come back, basically. And the other goblins that enable the Goblin bonus early, like Heavenly Bomber, Skybreaker, and Soulbreaker, they all sell for full retail value, even if you get them to 2-star. So as long as someone doesn't have that Ripper, they seldomly go for the Goblin Gamble, honestly.
Yeah, Hosty actually picking up a ton of 3-stars here. The only thing he's missing now is his well, he's missing his Dragon Knight, which you see Chuck already has a 2-star Dragon Knight, which is really crazy.
Do you think he's going to put in a Shadow Devil here? He does have the Divinity buff if he does disable his Doom Arbiter. Oh, he does actually have the Cave Clan.
Yeah, also has the Cave Clan. But that's easy to get rid of Red Axe Chief if you really wanted to.
Sure, it does have Patrol Elder though. So
with some mana items too, which
that's true.
Isn't really...
Could avoid a human also. Yeah. I wonder what... I guess he would go for maybe an Abyssal Guard, add a Siren if he wants to keep the Divinity buff, but that's a little tricky, and he's not really economized at this point, so a bit far away from going into the Divinity buff. Does find the Troll Elder too immediately alongside with a Strange Egg, so Hose is super strong currently. Probably gonna save up money to go to 8, find a suitable unit to put in, and then re-economize from there. Wow.
Yeah, definitely looking into, I would say, Dragons Mages, but imagine him getting up to 8, finding a Rogue Guard, activating that human bonus, or that, I'm sorry, the Divinity bonus that way. That would be, woo.
Yeah, We have seen Rogue out a little bit. We actually saw 2-star yesterday, being quite powerful. I think that brought him to second place, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, kind of a odd number in this metagame, something we don't see too often, even though it is, of course, one of my favorite units. I mean, on a personal bias, a little bit there. I have some fond memories of back in the Dota Auto Chess game when he was called Sven back then.
Yep.
Oh wow, that's a lot of
Absolutely.
words.
Yeah, let's take a look at Zugrug, because he's building what looks to be a Beast Warrior comp right now.
He's not
Actually,
Divinity, right?
Divinity.
Yeah.
Okay, so Divinity Mage.
I always think there was way too many summons there for there to be a Beast comp. Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Super cool.
pretty
Super cool? Is that word you were looking for?
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Something different, really. Seeing you always need, if you need, or I should say it like this: if you want a divinity buff, you really need that source to kind of enable your units casting multiple spells. So really benefit from the extra cooldown, and that's why we see people go with mages a lot, because it really makes sense. And the mages spells are so powerful to decrease the cooldowns from. But you don't have to. You can go with kind of a warlock lineup instead, going up to 4 warlocks potentially with Venomancer, and also getting tons of mana for those poisonous worms spawning so many summons. And against some mage teams, they can't handle it because they are immune to magic damage.
Wow, so many people close to Refresher Orbs here. We have Sizzle close to Refresher Orb, Hosty. We have Zugrug close to Refresher Orb, even Neutron and Chuck as well. So about 4 or 5 people close to Refresher Orbs, which would be huge upgrades just as far as items are concerned.
He's actually close to a Poisonous Worm 3 here, and does put a tons of items on both of them. Pretty much every item you got, I think, on that right Poisonous Worm. So that 3-star Poison Worm can be really, really scary with that Divinity buff, getting tons of spawns out. But he is attacked in the backline by this Assassin player. Might be one of his worst matchup, honestly, but doesn't seem like it's gonna matter. Look how many worms there are. Oh my god, that's the 6th one. One of them is already killed. This is crazy, actually. Might be enough to take care of this Red X Chief, as the other Red X Chief is actually tanking for them. Gonna slow him down and do tons of damage.
Crazy.
It's gonna be close, honestly.
Oh,
Ooh.
one-shotting them.
No, actually 2-shotting them.
You're like, nope,
no.
He's 2-shotting them. Wow, so Vincent actually still super dominant right now, and does have an egg. Also Dragonite on his bench. Chuck really looking good too. At 0 gold fully rolled in as well. I'm sure Vincent has already seen that, but he does have, wow, he does have 5 Dragonites already.
Jesus, yeah, does find Evil Knight.
He's going Knights Dragons.
Yeah, it's only 1 Knight away from having 6 Knights, I believe. Missing Frost Knight only, so probably worth.
Yeah. Just Frost Knight puts that in, and does get the Ghost Prophet though in there for the
Aggressus bonus. Yeah, that is actually. I wonder what's better. Yeah, probably 6 Knights is probably better, especially with that Silver Blade Knight. I wonder what item Silver Blade Knight has. It really detriments how Prophet doesn't have anything actually at this moment. We saw in the previous game that Silver Blade Knight actually crushing a better lineup just because of its items. So does have a Heaven's Gift, however, in the front line, which is super nice against the Total Elder. Lets the backline kind of survive to be able to kind of attrition through that burst damage.
Oh no.
Look at this Poisonous Worms.
Only 8 damage though, because it's all spawns.
Yeah, still though.
Yeah.
You love to see it, don't you?
Yeah.
That is cool. Yeah, we haven't seen tons of Poisonous Worms because Beast Warrior not as common as it used to be. This setup is something else. Actually surviving for way longer than I expected.
Oh wow. Zugrug did actually get the 3-star Poisonous Worm.
There we go.
It's got a lot of other stuff to put in though.
Can we agree to it being purple now?
I said it was purple. I said that it was
pink.
No, I said this is pink.
Oh. No, you are right.
Yeah, see the difference now?
Yeah, I do see the
Purple.
difference.
That's blue-ish.
I'm glad Claytano is here to give us some deep analysis on how colors work. And if we're getting back to the game, we can actually see Assassin getting to play against this Poisonous Worm again, but this time Poisonous Worm is 3-star, so it's going to be way more tanky, spawning tons of those summons, and all of the summons is so strong, but that Phantom Queen is just going to burst through the back line. Yeah, kind of crushing Sagrag, actually kicking him out of this game. Sad to see Poisonous Worm go. Honestly, maybe that's a reason why we don't see it so often.
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't really happy with that team anyway.
Yeah.
It was kind of an in-between God, Mage, Warlock team. Didn't even have the mages activated just yet. But the Poisonous Worm isn't even something that's really relevant right now with the gods. There's so many other better options. But, you know, I'm still happy that Zagrug tried something a little different for entertainment's sake.
For sure.
He's a fan favorite now for going Wormy Boy 3, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, definitely. We'd love to see some different units sometimes, even if it doesn't work out. It's really good to see some experiments and see how that works. So maybe you learn something about, oh, maybe it didn't work because of this. Maybe I should try it in this comp instead, a little later stage. Actually, we have seen Vincent lose quite a lot of rounds.
He just lost to Chuck twice. 7 there.
Oh, yeah, that is the
5 here.
So Chuck must be incredibly powerful. Let's have a look at him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is the. Of course, we've seen Chuck previously with a Silver Blade Knight alongside Aggressive bonus, which is so important. Yeah, it's gonna crush Hosey here. Let's have a look at Neutron again, see if he's gonna get defeated. Does play against Vincent, as we know, is super powerful. Neutron going out there, trying to hide in the corner. It's not gonna help him, but it is gonna help him go out. No, actually Monty going out after Neutron, glitching that 6th place. Sizzle, next on the shopping block, kind of, does lose against Knight Glacier, which is super good against Assassins. I mean, there's a little bit too tanky to get bursted down, and that Lightblade Paladin kind of tears through those squishy Assassins.
Wonder why the Fortune Tellers.
Maybe it's due to trying to just get a higher placement if he goes up to 8. Kind of trying just to protect his life total. Maybe thinking that if he adds another unit, it's actually not going to help him that much to get stronger. He doesn't have too many. I mean, he can add Beast, but is it going to actually be enough to save him here? Maybe he just wants basically a bit of extra life, kind of buying himself towards surviving a few more rounds, but
that
he does have 50 gold
also, though, thinking about it a little bit more detail, I guess, now taking a second thought of it, Fortune Teller as a frontline unit could actually be pretty tanky, since he doesn't have any other units like, you know, 3-star Razor Claw, 3-star Warpwood Sage. Being able to put something that just makes you invulnerable for a good amount of time is not
maybe as good as it gets.
Yeah, about as good as it gets. I think that's really what it is.
Yeah, that is super cool. Even being able to kind of protect some of those assassins to maybe get a few more powerful hits in could be something to be aware of.
Yeah, exactly. Like if he shields the Shadow Crawler as it's going ham on somebody.
Yeah, kind of surprised on his positioning though. I'm not sure he's gonna get off. He does get kind of cleaved by some magic damage here. Will get off his second spell and does actually try to protect that Shadow Crawler, getting a few more hits in. And at this point, it's not gonna be enough for Sizzle. I'm honestly surprised that Sizzle has survived for this long. He is actually facing off against this Yeah. Did you think that Sizzle was going to survive for this long? I honestly didn't. I'm kind of impressed.
But it is, I mean, he's still in danger of going out 5th, so.
Yeah, for sure. No, I thought it was going to go out at 8th, but it seems like it's going to stay around for a bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, this was the...
That's kind of strange.
Yeah, this is the player that had pretty low economy, right, earlier on. Lost his win streak early on as well. And
true.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets either 2 more Shadow Crawlers, he can make a 3-star Shadow Crawler. If he gets 1 more Shadow Crawler, another egg, he could also do that as well. Yeah, Chuck is very scary.
Yeah, also the Lightblade Paladin is so nice against the kind of assassins that are usually squishy. If they don't target it immediately, they are gonna get cleaved down. Barely winning against His opponent here, Sizzle, taking tons of damage. Actually only surviving due to that priest shield. So good on him, but is it gonna be enough to put him in 4th? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, it's about as good as he can do.
Does find
Yeah,
another 2-star egg. So
honestly,
one away
I'd
from
sell
Abyssal
everything.
Crawler.
Oh,
Yeah.
he got it. 3-star Shadow Crawler.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, Shadow Crawler 3-star is really strong, but it does lack the items here, which is kind of scary. It does find another egg. This is kind of Sizzle the Omelette Master.
Oh, he got the
Oh,
3-star
wow.
G.I. Joe.
Jesus. Okay, so this is about as good as Sizzle could ever hope for, honestly. We'll see if it's going to be enough to defeat T-Tigers.
I think it's possibly enough.
No, Shadow Crawler goes down so quickly. Doesn't get the buff from Fortune Teller, and that is going to be it for Sizzle. So going out at 5th place against T-Tigers. T-Tigers on his own, though, losing to Shock, which is still powerful. Hosty taking some damage. Yeah, Chuck looking real strong, honestly.
Yeah, Vincent and Chuck back in this top 4 already.
Yeah,
as we
making themselves comfortable at day 2 as well.
Yeah,
here.
as we've seen them so many times in the past games here. So still dominating between them two. T-Tigers with absolutely something to prove. Needs to not only just get 3rd, but he needs to start getting some 1st and 2nd places as well. We did see him take a 2nd place last game, and on his way to possibly something this time around as well. I think Hosty has a lot farther to go than T-Tigers does. But, I mean, good to see them in the top 4 together, actually.
Yeah, definitely. They need to pick up some slack here, basically. But do have a lot of super tough opponents to do so against. Yeah, it seems like Host is going to go out in 4th. Not this round, but probably in the next. Taking 10 damage, dropping down to single digits. Yeah, it's interesting that Chuck and Vincent is kind of neck and neck all the time in the top. They're really showing their, I'm not going to say dominance, because this lobby is still really close. But we saw them yesterday doing so well a lot of the games.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously doing something right game after game that is allowing them to be where they're at. So
yeah, for sure.
Hats off to them. Hosty also has not 1, not 2, not even 3 magic crystals, but he's got 4 of them, Joel.
Jesus.
He's got 4 of them.
Is that only? Oh yeah, with the orb of progression.
Yeah. 4 of them, just needs 3 Ring of Lives, and he'll have 2
yeah,
refresher
I
orbs.
thought that was Hosty's Ring of Life, but Ring of Life actually staying at Sizzle, which we know is already out, honestly. See, okay, Hosty does survive. He did go up to 9.
Oh, he got a single refresher orb, which he's got on this Tortola Elder right here.
Almost close to a 2nd Tortola Elder. Probably gonna put in that Thunder Spirit if he doesn't find a 2nd Tortola Elder. Does have a lot of things on his bench that I would personally sell.
I don't know if I
not
would have
worth
made that.
going for that. Yeah, I agree. He's getting closer though. But this is very much a luxurious unit, honestly.
Yeah, I think making that source was a mistake.
Yeah, this is
especially with having a 2-star Storm Shaman, possibly even a Tortola Elder. I would have definitely put the Pirate Captain in over the 2nd Tortola Elder as well.
Yeah, I thought it was a good matchup because Vincent did have a pretty squishy backline, something that Hosty could definitely deal with, but he does end up falling to him. Yeah, he really needs to make a difference here. I would sell the Pirate Captains, I think.
Probably sell the Tortola Elders, yeah.
Oh,
there you go,
yeah.
perfect.
That's fine.
Way better.
For sure. Yeah, also having that warrior bonus is not having the 4th unit, unfortunately. Could actually make the
Storm Shaman,
or the Storm Shaman.
I was like, please make the Storm Shaman, not the 3-star source. Not worth it.
What do you have against Source, man? No, I'm just kidding. Of course, I do agree with you.
I tell you,
this
it's
is
no
a
Hell
luxurious
Knight.
units. Yeah.
It's no Hell Knight 3-star, that's for sure.
Oh wow, he crushed
Very nice.
this round.
Wow, and against Vincent.
Yeah, it wasn't even close, honestly.
Very nice for him. It's that Storm Shaman, honestly, made a huge difference against Vincent's mages.
Yeah, Tortola Elder also getting off 2 of his spells.
Yeah.
Pirate Captain is also super nice because it kind of starts, it kind of lands after the Storm Shaman has gone off. And actually, we've seen a lot of Storm Shamans having issues with getting their spell off early enough, and I mean that sorcery happening right now is gonna help him get it off ever so quickly. And a lot of his opponents actually is clumped up in the corner, so that's really gonna help him with a quick Sword Shaman ult, then a Pirate Captain boat following up is gonna buy him enough time to get 2 Totola ults off. Yeah.
I'm kind of worried about T-Tigers here, honestly.
Yeah, no 3 stars, right?
No 3 stars. Kind of a weaker comp compared to the other 3 players he's up against. And now he's up against Chuck, which is obviously one of the strongest players right now in the lobby with that 3-star Lightblade. But he does have his units split up, which is good because the Lightblade Knight's not going to bounce over all of them. But this is going to be it for T-Tigers, taking a 4th place here.
Yeah, if Hosted doesn't die before him.
No, Hosey's pretty stabilized.
I honestly, yeah, I think so as well. But I don't know, with a bit of bad RNG, he does look super strong though. Even I think he looks way stronger than Vincent too. Actually, he doesn't have any 3 stars at all at this point, and Hosey has so much damage, right? It's only really the 3 stars who can survive that kind of a burst damage against double Tutorial Elder and Sword Shaman. It really is over in a second.
We see a God of Thunder pickup from Vincent. Possible 6 mages here. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4. Just looking for the Thunder Spirit now, of course.
Yeah. Of course. T-Tigers agrees.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah. Vincent
this
against
Knight
Chuck.
is too strong. Oh, as I said,
Should
he
be
gets
okay.
shunked down actually by the Tutorial Elder.
It's the Venom as well. He's only focusing really on that Lightblade Knight.
That Tutorial Elder ult though.
Yeah, it was a little Petega.
Does miss completely.
Silenced.
This was close, 40 HP the difference. Taking some damage. Host is still kind of soaring with those 3 stars. But Chuck looking real good. He's so healthy. He has 60 gold. He's gonna go up to level 10, I believe, at this round 35. What are the players looking for in terms of items? Oh yeah, that Storm Shaman has 2 Magic Cruises. That makes sense, right? He does have 2 Magic Cruises and it does have Source 3, so that's why we see that ult off basically instantly every round.
If he gets a Kier Axe right here for his God of War 3-star, that would be probably the best item he can get. The best single item he can get right now.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, not only is it nice to get it off quickly, but that means you don't have to put it in the front line as well. And putting things in the front line in this metagame is super dangerous because there's so many human silence going on with Divinity Mages being, not Divinity Mages, but Dragon Mages, I mean, with 4 of those humans. Also Knight players having a couple of units on their own.
Yeah, Vincent just 1 fish fork away from a Mjolnir as well for himself. If he can make it to round 40, he has a pretty solid chance of actually finding that.
Yeah. And getting that Tsunami Stalker also at 10, maybe looking to get that Marine buff instead of those 6 mages, or he's just having it in the meantime until he gets a 2-star of either God of Thunder.
I feel like I would go God of Thunder over
Flaming Wizard.
The Flaming Wizard right now. He already has the 4 humans, and Flaming Wizard is just
even 5, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. It's gonna lose to
Chuck. Hosey taking that 1%, taking a 3rd place just barely, and we have our
classic top 2.
Classic top 2 of Chuck and Vince.
Still ever strong showing though for
ever since the best of 16 NA, they've been going at it as
Yep.
well. So all weekend it's been Chuck and Vince.
By such a large portion of health too. Does find 3-star Hell Knight and does find 3-star Frost Knight.
Yeah, I think Chuck's taking this lobby right now.
Yeah.
And Vincent's probably going to take a 2nd place. He has 2 Dragon Knights, by the way.
With the Dragon buff as well, with 6 Knights also. So these Dragon Knights are so tanky, also super powerful from that Dragon buff. I really like this, honestly, in this matchup. Having those extra tanky lineup is really where it's at against these mage players. So you want to survive the initial burst, and then you kind of whittle them down with your sustainable damage instead of their kind of burst lineup.
Yeah, Vincent actually picking up a
Dark Spirit,
which is kind of his last hurrah, I would say. But I still think God of Thunder is a better option than Flaming Wizard.
Agree. Yeah, I totally agree. Bit of a mistake here from Vincent. Kind of uncharacteristic, honestly.
Oh.
Ooh, does find a God of Thunder. So hopefully for Vincent, it's gonna find another God of Thunder, which is gonna. Okay, he does put in the 6th mage here, seeing that he needs to make some kind of a change since he's still losing. Here.
Maybe remove Doom as well for the Dark Spirit.
I don't know. Only Dark Spirit 1. It's already really spread. I mean, it is good against Knight, sure, but at level 1, I don't think it's gonna be enough. It doesn't get helped by that mage. Yeah.
Doom just doomed the Dragon Knight, so
it's true.
Not really that crazy. It's also not providing warrior bonus anymore either, and having a little bit of spirit bonus added in to slow that Hell Knight down. Also, just the fact that Dark Spirit is really good against 6 Knights in general could be another option, but he's so close. I would.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay. So he's taking out the 6 mages now. At this point,
interesting.
Putting in double Dark Spirits.
Okay.
Okay.
Taking his chance with double pure damage. I can see that.
I can get behind this.
Yeah. Also has another spirit with that spirit bonus. But I mean, these Dark Spirit has to be immaculate to be able to get Vincent into a decent position.
Yeah.
He only needs a little bit of time to actually find them. Being level 10, it's a lot higher chance to hit those units. But I mean, these guys just get bursted down by this damage right from the 3-star units. Doesn't even get a single Dark Spirit ult off, and that's gonna be it. Vincent's gonna be out against Chuck. But still good showing for both Vincent and Host in this lobby, taking second and third, I should say, and Chuck getting in his comfort zone in that first position. So
yeah, I think the first place here for Chuck is really just
putting the nail in the coffin.
He's put the nail in the coffin, and I'm gonna say he's probably confirmed his spot into Shanghai. So really nice to see that from Chuck. And Vincent right behind his coattails as always.
Right.
Looking to punch his ticket to Shanghai.
Not bubble buddies, but kind of finals buddies.
Yeah, finals buddies.
It's a much better relationship.
Yes, exactly. For sure.
With that being said, we have a break, and after that we're gonna get the records for you, the scoreboard, I should say, and we're gonna see which other players are gonna have a chance to claim that probably 3rd and 4th spot, because as you said, I think Vince also really good chance to get to Shanghai. So see you in about 4 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the House Cup here at GLL. I'm joined by Claytano. I'm Joe Larson. We are trying to hash out who's going to Shanghai in our Auto Chess finals with the NA group. There's 20K on the line. The Shanghai golden ticket, where there's $1 million in mid-late October. We've had a second game going on in the NA group, and we have the scoreboard here for you. Chuck still crushing it at 38 points. I mean, he's pretty much set. He has 50 more points than 4th place, and top 4, of course, going to Shanghai. So congrats basically to him. We have Vince not too far off at 33 points. Kind of needs some disaster rounds to not get there. Cecil also pretty high at 29. Then it drops off a little bit to Monty at 23 points. Neutron also at 22. 21 for T-Tigers. Hosey at 17. And Sagrog at 15. Sagrog has a lot of work to do if he's going to be able to get to 4th place. Almost impossible at this point, honestly. Yeah, needs pretty much like 2 wins, a second maybe.
With only 2 games left, it's really a battle between Monty, Neutron, and T-Tigers for that 4th spot. I know Sizzle's been pretty dominant. Also, Chuck and Vince have been absolutely insane. So for them to basically not take any points these next 2 rounds is probably not going to happen.
Right.
So like you said, Chuck most likely in. Vince also most likely in. I want to say, I don't want to jinx anything, of course, but anything
curse
can
is
happen.
real,
but
my friend.
For the most part, this is true.
Yeah.
And I just cursed both of them then, unfortunately. But really, it's just a battle for that last spot. You know, Sizzle also very, very strong right now too.
Yeah, we see a lot of the metagame kind of continue being the same here. nothing too crazy. The European qualifiers kind of developed into a god mage build, being one of the three options in rock paper scissors, if you will. We didn't see a ton of that in this particular game. I guess we did see a divinity player, but going for 4 warlocks, 2 mages, maybe not the best way to get a high placement. Yeah, perhaps. And so Chuck, he was running, I'm gonna say Knight Dragons with
yes.
2 Dragon Knights. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've actually seen a lot more 6 Knights, both earlier and later in the game. So maybe something you should think about there at home, not going for that typical Glacier Knight build early every game. Just see that there is a second option, basically.
There's a few different options actually that we've seen. We've also seen a 6 Knight 4 Glacier composition without the addition of Soul Reaper.
Yeah.
We've now seen this Dragon Knight composition. Of course, that's actually been around for such a long time, but hasn't really been revitalized until Chuck just got a nice first place win with it just now as well. So there's definitely other options out there, to say the least. And right now, back into Game 7. Just 2 games left of the NA GLL House Cup Auto Chess Championship for $20,000 here. Neutron starting things off with not the greatest start. Does have just 1 Soulbreaker, a pair of warriors to go along with it. T-Tigers gets himself 2 Soulbreakers. Much better start from T-Tigers with that God of War as well.
2 of the strongest starting units, basically Soulbreaker and God of War.
Yep, Chuck with his typical high roll God of War 2-star. No surprises, no surprises. Vincent now with some pretty valuable units and a interesting looking chess player as he slides across to the top left corner. Zugrug also with a kind of interesting start. If I was him, I'd be thinking about a potential open fort, especially with seeing the pickup from Chuck. Monty with an actually very early Dwarf Sniper with the addition of 2 nice warriors frontline. So not a bad start for Monty either. Hosty with his God and mech combination, so not bad for him.
Yeah, really
honestly, if he does, if he does find a goblin, I would say I'd probably take that over the God of War because it is quite nice. But wow, look at all these 2-stars. T-Tigers, Sizzle actually picking up 2 2-stars right.
Jesus,
right here.
That is nice. And it doesn't have really any synergy, but in the beginning, it's a lot about getting to those 2-stars, as your units doesn't only get double the damage, but basically double the health, and together that's I almost feel like it's a bit even better than double as good of a unit, if you will. Actually has really nice placement against his opponent in Neutron, where that Tabo Witcher continuously hitting that Aggressive Ranger, which of course doesn't have any mana to speak of, doesn't really care about that. So nice for Sizzle there to get that early win. Also trying to figure out how to pick a synergy of some sort at this point.
Monty, as you can see, with that very powerful early starting Dwarf Sniper. And keep in mind, again, the 3 that you guys want to pay attention to these next 2 games there are Monty, T-Tigers, and Neutron. They're the ones that are battling it out for that essential 4th place at this point in time. Of course, things can change going into the last one, but right now, those are the 3 to watch this game.
I do think the 3rd place is contestable. I mean, he's a little bit more further away, but it is contestable at this point. But a lot will happen. I do agree. It's a lot more about that 4th place, realistically.
Yeah, and that 3rd place, as you were talking about, was Sizzle. So again, if he happens to get some type of 8th place or something along those lines,
this is a nice start. Let's find those triple rangers. We talked a lot about how powerful they are, because when you enable that alliance, you do get a flat of damage increase, which is so nice in the beginning. Not scaling insanely well, but if you get flat out damage, earlier you get it, the better it becomes, basically.
Yeah, Sizzle needing to have a good round here to kind of pull away from the other pack for the most part, and already starting into it.
I love that it actually has this comp in the beginning because we've seen it being so solid. It's basically super hard to fail with it, you know, because there's a tons of hunters to enable in this build and tons of warriors. The flexibility is really there, and it also transitions super well. So you will rarely see a really bad game from it, even though it might not win every game, basically, in comparison to maybe a feathered hunter build that is a lot of high variance, honestly, and same with like assassins and stuff. Maybe a reason why we don't see it too often. Even Beast Warriors, I think, is kind of high variance. It's very dependent on getting a lot of 2 stars early and pushing the envelope for your opponents. And as soon as you lose, you kind of fall off pretty quickly. So, yeah, nice for him. Only needs a middle finish at this point.
Now, Hosty actually dropping into an open fort with Fortune Teller, and for Hosty, it just feels like same story, different game.
Yeah.
Always dropping into a lose streak, almost consistently every single time. So that is something to look at, because if there are players that are able to play from win streaks every now and then, I would say that there's gotta be a reason why they're able to do that, and why Hosty feels like he does need to drop into a lose streak every time. I would say possibly looking at picking up some more of those key units like Soulbreaker, Skybreaker, God of War, and I would assume that he already knows that, of course, if he is this far into the tournament, but just something to keep in mind, of course, for him.
What's his swarm sniping his opponent? It was just Neutron was not attacking at all. Almost working like a melee unit that couldn't get there, so he just stopped. Either way, it's not gonna matter against that lone Fortune Teller. Kind of messing up the AI a little bit, being the only unit in play. Something maybe the AI is not used to only facing one unit, since you can have 3 units in play as soon as you get to start playing against a player. Either way, Sizzle staying at 100% here. We already talked about that Hunter build being so strong in that early game. Honestly, he doesn't have a ton of 2 stars, but he is a lot stronger than he looks here. Red Axe Chief is also pretty much a perfect frontline. Maybe God of War 2 is a little bit better, a little bit tankier, but it's all about being tanky for flat out damage increase from those hunters.
Yeah, and now getting put up against Monty with a very similar build, but he is level 5, so he should be just fine up against Monty, because it's basically a mirror build, just better for the most part.
Yeah, also has another 2-star unit there, so should be just fine, as you mentioned.
Chuck also going 100%, which is really no surprise from Chuck. He always seems to be able to put himself in a position where he can somehow magically high roll himself to victory.
I mean, that 2-star Swordman is so powerful at this point, and going up to 6 to protect his streak, putting in another Swordman. Would like to see him put in that Red Axe Chief, maybe valuing actually the God buff over the Red Axe Chief. Does have that warrior bonus. It's possible he will get a double spin-off. It's close, I think, especially with that second Swordman. It's not like Lightblade Paladin or Taboo Witcher is offering you so much at this point, but
let's take a look, because honestly, after what we've seen this weekend, I really feel like maybe that God buff is a little too overvalued right now by Chuck, but
yeah. It's nice though that it does have that Taboo Witcher in play, shutting off 2 Shadow Devils from Neutron, something you don't see every day, so.
He does get 2 spins off from his Swordman and quite a few pops from his God of War shield, so
dealing a lot of damage, yeah.
Not too bad at all.
That's fun. Now I think he's got to put it in, basically. Trying to figure out how he's going to rearrange his units. Yeah, that's sell that Silver Blade Knight. Yeah, let's put it in finally. There's just basically too many Cave Clan units that are benefiting from this Red Axe Chief. Also Red Axe Chief, of course, getting the bonus from the Warrior buff, so it's just so much stronger than Lightblade Knight at this point. Yeah. Neutron actually has 4 magic.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is pretty insane, and I would hope that he would go mages at this point if he can somehow switch into it. He does have...
Definitely go for mages.
Double Shadow Devils. He does have now a Thunder Spirit, but...
A good tell is that it already has a Magicka Crystal on its Dwarf Sniper. Not a unit you don't usually want to put it on, and since he might sell that to get back his Magicka Crystal. He does have a lot of Magicka Crystals though, so he could probably spread the love
go
a little
around.
bit.
Yeah, he can be a little bit
frisky with them.
Frisky, yeah. I don't know the exact word I'm looking for, but yeah, you can give some of that love around. And honestly, Sizzle has a pretty good start with items as well. Some of the ones that are kind of struggling a bit on the items side are probably Vincent for the most part. Well, he does pick up an anti-mag cloak, which isn't horrible. And
yeah, Sakurai not looking great on the items either. Kind of on the same level as Vincent here.
yeah, for the most part, I would say so, yeah. And let's take a look at the gold gain chart. We haven't seen this too much actually for this lobby. We take maybe one look at it per game around this time. And Posty, of course, with his full open fort strategy.
Yeah, should have a lot of gold at this point, but it is costing him a lot of health. Does luckily have that fortune teller to help him, but he really needs to turn around for round 15. Does not want to lose against the wolves, and after the wolves, you do need to kind of increase in power level. Sagrag finding a 2-star Venom here. That's super strong. I'm a little scared actually for Neutron. Neutron does have the least amount of gold, and he doesn't actually have that. I mean, he doesn't have that much HP either in terms of how much gold he has, and we see this happening sometimes too. This middling strategies where you can't hit those interest points while you're winning some and losing some. So
yeah,
Neutron really needs the points as well.
Well, the gold is one thing. Also, the fact that his team is kind of a little bit all over the place.
Yeah.
Where he's not really sure too much whether he's going for
demons or mages.
It's all over the place, right? He has some options of different things he can go. He also has this shiny archer, which I would hope that he sells, which he does, thankfully, because with all those magic crystals, he should be going into some type of mage formation.
Yeah. Unlikely that he will get the source in this game, given that he can basically make his own source by just giving out a few magic crystals left and right.
Yeah, just going dragon mages with probably a Tortola Elder and Flaming Wizard.
Yeah, that's
probably going to be his best bet.
For sure. Hosty, okay, trying to turn it around a little bit, looking to be able to be strong enough to beat those wolves. What about Sagrag? He's also kind of loose streaking-esque. He doesn't even have 50 gold though, so kind of weird position here. I would assume his gold gain isn't at his best. He has a pretty expensive board with that 2-star Venom. Not that 2-star Venom is bad by any means. Super good with those dragons that have been seen so much, but yeah, he is second to last in gold gain, so yeah, tells a story here.
He needs to be like pretty much bailed out by a nice Dragonite high roll right about now, and he'll be looking in good shape. But until then, he's got some work to do.
For sure. Say. Yeah, Sizzle's still at 100%, so looking real nice. Vincent
might be disconnected.
Not sure. Back, yeah. We see the players flicker a little bit in the disconnection. I said this previously in another day of the cast, but there was once I played this game, and whenever I actually alt-tabbed out of the game or to my second screen, it showed as I was disconnected. So maybe a bit of the same here, because players tend to come back really quickly into the lobby again.
Yeah, Monty actually looking really strong right now, to be completely honest. 50 golds, one of the few that it is actually fully economized with 73% HP. Also has a very clean team with hunters and the double dwarf snipers, and also has a really good front line as well, where he's actually going to pick up a win against Zugrug, no problem. And
you can
also
really see the
very nice bench as well.
You can really see the aggressive bonus working to a large extent here. This is just two of the strongest kind of synergies you can have in the early game. The flat out damage from the hunters alongside aggressive. So powerful.
Yeah, also speaking of somebody in a really good spot, we do have Sizzle with the dragon bonus already activated. Going into round 15, he's 100%, and then he also has the egg in order to make a 2-star Dragonite potentially really soon.
I mean, Sizzle is looking so strong, and the reason is that his lineup is pretty much finished. You know, he has all the synergies he need. He's already transitioned into a late game lineup, and is looking strong at that. Has, of course, the most amount of health with 100%, but also the pretty good economy giving his long win streak. So
Yeah.
yeah,
One thing I like that he did was he removed his source, gave
yeah,
up mage bonus in order to add in a second venom, which is extremely good against creep rounds here. But once he gets back into the PvP rounds, he'll go ahead
yeah.
and remove the venom, put the 2-star source back in, get that mage bonus, get that human bonus, and start rocking and rolling once again.
Yeah, really good point there. Some units are just so much better against creep rounds, like the Venom slowing them down, or the Desperate Doctor keeping them locked down, or maybe a Spirit bonus, basically stunning them. Yeah, it's all about having a tanky lineup along some CC or one or the other or both, basically.
Yeah, we see Chuck here with a pair of 2-star Swordman. Also has the Divinity buff activated, as
Yeah.
well as the Mage bonus. So those Swordmans are going to be doing a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And the God of War also nothing to squawk at either, because it still has that Divinity bonus. Kind of starting to probably fall off at this point, plus the positioning a little bit awkward there.
I would just like him to get another warrior though that's not like impacting the divinity buff. That would honestly lead him so well into the divinity mage build. What kind of warrior could he be looking for? Because of course humans are taking a lot of those higher tier warriors are humans. Maybe an abyssal guard. That's the only one I can really think of that would be decent in the late game as well, alongside maybe a siren to cut off the divinity buff if you would need so against some dragon mage. But yeah, abyssal guard definitely not the worst.
Yeah, I
Stone
think
Spirit, another option.
we all know that he's
no.
probably not going Divinity, though. He's more so going into Dragon Mages, because he does have the double
Oh yeah,
Venoms
that does make sense.
ready to go. Also the Shining Dragon. And it's just honestly a more consistent, better build at the end of the day.
What about the matchups, however? We have Dragon Mage, we have some Hunters, probably gonna transition out of that later into Dragon Mage as well. Chuck does have that, let's see, yeah, that's Dragon, that's one we're looking at. Maybe Divinity, maybe Dragon Mage. Monty is playing, he's playing regular Hunters actually. He's kind of cemented himself into that with that 2-star Dwarf Sniper, I believe. Vincent is working with Glacier Knights. And Sagrog is kind of transitioning into Dragon Mages also. Here we have kind of a mage build. It's kind of a mess of a setup with that Shadow Devil. Sometimes it's really good with mages. However, it does lock up a spot and it isn't really providing you anything in terms of synergies. Usually we see that luxury spot go to Storm Shaman when we get to that point, but it is a strong unit in the early game. And lastly, we have another Glacier Knight player. What I was really looking for was how many Glacier players is there in this lobby. We know that Divinity is really good against them, but with only 2, and some of them really in the bottom tier, it's not so important. Maybe you should look out for this large number of other Dragon Mage players, trying to stay away from Divinity, as that is kind of the rock against the paper, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the rock against the scissors.
It depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
I was thinking that the Dragon Mage is the paper.
Yeah. Dragon Mage is definitely paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Divinity is rock. Okay,
Yeah.
there we go.
There you go.
Glad we figured that out.
We do have Zagra. I actually wanted to take a look at Neutron's team here, because this is the most interesting one, I think, out of all of them, because he's got a lot of work to do as far as transitioning is concerned. He's also using this Red Axe Chief, which I think is maybe less efficient as the 1-star Pirate Captain, to be completely honest. And he also has a shield on it that he could give to that Pirate Captain and potentially just have a little bit cleaner of a team, and using some of those units that are actually worth more value. Also having that human bonus in there at the front line, silencing maybe one extra
Honestly,
unit that he needs to
I
as well.
think Red Axe Chief is better for now because he doesn't have any other frontliner, and the most important part is that that frontliner survives as long as possible. Since it doesn't have 3 warriors, it doesn't have that much armor, and as soon as that Red Axe Chief doesn't need Berserker's Call, he's gonna get a bunch more armor. Maybe survive a little bit longer than a Pirate Captain, who can get nuked down, but I think he's gonna transition out of it pretty quickly, honestly, especially if he finds another human to add to get that 4 human silence bonus.
The question though is, would that Red Axe Chief survive longer then Pirate Captain, as well as a Pirate Captain 1-star
Ghost
stun.
ship, yeah. I'm just not so sure you will get off the stun. That's what I'm also scared about in this comp. He doesn't have the source either to help him out, so I honestly think I think it's a close decision. He has so much damage with the Shadow Devil. Yeah, something to think about. You might, of course, be right.
Yeah, I just think it's
But yeah.
interesting to talk about because it actually can go either way. And personally, I think I would just throw in the Pirate Captain because it is kind of a toss-up, and I do have a pretty tanky
wow.
Thunder Spirit with the
I like that you
refresher
clicked on
orb.
it just to show that the Thunder Spirit you were talking about, not realizing there was an Orb refresher on it. Neither did I know, honestly. So, yeah, kind of sick setup for Thunder Spirit here.
Wow, Neutron actually rolling all the way down, and
Something we see often at 21, people really trying to improve their lineup as they're scared of other people doing the same. It's kind of becoming a domino effect. There we finally see him selling that once he finds the 4th human, as we were talking about a little bit there. So yeah, maybe the thing kind of made it go over the top over the Red X Chief there.
yeah, let me go stop and take a look here.
Let's not get off his
didn't
ult,
get off
unfortunately.
the boats. But let's go take a look at Chuck because he had a ton of upgrades just now as well with a 3-star Swordman, but still loses to Neutron, actually, which is the player that we've kind of been going back and forth with just now.
Yeah,
But
Neutron kind of picking up some slack. He was really low on economy early, if I'm not mistaken, but he looks quite strong now. Has a good chance of re-economizing, staying over that 40% also. Wow, that's a 3-star Swordman, just as you said too. There's a lot of potential upgrades getting to 3-star here. More than we usually see, honestly.
yeah, and he is pretty well economized. I am definitely agreeing with him rolling down now to try to find those upgrades. He picks up a couple eggs.
One more egg for a 2-star Storm Spirit.
Yeah.
Also, one Storm Spirit away from a 3-star. Could also use the egg to get that God of War. He's gonna wait one more turn, see if he can get either upgrade, but after that I think he's gonna use one of his eggs at the very least to 3-star that God of War. Most likely, as you are using a 5 gold unit to make a 1 gold unit, which is kind of a economy loss, but God of War 3 is so strong and it lets you put in another unit. It's not often we see Source as the one last remaining unit, as it does usually lose every 1 versus 1, versus basically everything but a strange egg that we have seen in play.
Yeah. I think this is a hyper-carry Source. Probably going to get it to 3-star after that display.
Oh, she's working. Let's put everything on her.
Dragon Bone Ballista incoming. We have Monty with the traditional Hunter build, actually pretty close to a nice amount of upgrades, to be honest.
See Neutron, get another 2. Got a War Sagra finding, another egg. Does use that for a Storm Shaman. Super curious to see what Chuck... He does indeed end up using that for that God of War, I believe. No, he actually found the 3rd one, right? Didn't? No, he did not.
No, he used the egg,
yeah. Well, Manta actually looking super strong. 2 Dwarf Snipers, 2-star. Does have that Siren as well, 2-star. Soul Reaper 2, super important for the Eris's bonus to give that physical backline so much more damage. Really looking to find another Marine unit. Probably at this point, Abyssal Guard, not fantastic maybe. Kind of hard to find also being level 8. Really looking for a Tsunami Stalker, I think. Especially with how many Dragon Mage players there are in this lobby. Yeah, I think Monty has a good chance in this game, honestly.
Yeah, he definitely needs it. He's one of those players that are looking to kind of have a more solid chance of getting in, with this being the second to last game. It is Monty, T-Tigers, as well as Neutron that are looking to finish as high as they possibly can to give themselves the best possibility of moving on now.
Abyssal Guard actually very easily, much more easily than you would usually see, and does remove one of his frontline warriors to get that. And honestly, that's such a big upgrade. We talked about that when we went through the lineup. We could see how many Dragon Mage players there really are in this lobby. There's like what, 4 or 5 or something like that. I think there's like 2 Glacier Knight players, 1 Hunter players, and that's it, I think. The rest is based off magic damage.
Yeah, there's only the 2 Knights Glacier, about to be just 1 Knights Glacier potentially as well, with Hosey being at 1%. If he can't get through these, which I think he's going to be just fine, but
some nice lifesteal right there.
yeah, very, very close there for Hosey. Zugrug also pretty much on this deathbed at 6%, fully in, and also losing still to Chuck. Vincent pretty much on the chopping block as well. Probably 2 Lightblade Knights away from a 3-star. Also 3 Hell Knights away from a 3-star. Hosey picks up a Strange Egg, which could potentially help him out with his Soul Reaper. He's going to get into this creep round though and not worry too much. But yeah,
actually,
a couple. I mean, Vincent being a strong player, really close to going out here, and his team doesn't really look that strong either. Kind of has to rely on a bit of luck.
Honestly, all of the Knight Glacier players are all in the bottom 3, right? No, okay, Sagrad not playing it, but 2 of them being in the bottom. Yeah, both of them being in the bottom here. We could see a pretty full-on out magic damage fiesta here if both of them does indeed go out.
Oh no, look at Neutron with
my
2
God.
refresher orbs.
That is high rolling as, oh my lord. I've never seen that happen actually. I've been so close so many times. But yeah, I never seen that happen.
Would you rather have 2 refresher orbs and a Heaven's Gift, or would you rather have all these items that, say, Sizzle or T-Tigers has?
2 refresher orbs and a Heaven's Gift.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. He's got that one, and he's got this one, of course, without being 2-star. Wow, Vincent actually picked up a 3-star Hell Knight.
Wow, that was
with
nice.
Like a couple gold.
Yeah, where did that come from?
He had only 1 2-star Hell Knight on the side here going into the creep round, and he was able to find 3 more.
That's so
just
sick,
like
actually.
that. Just high roll. That's all you gotta do. Just high roll.
Yeah, that is indeed sick. Especially like
it has a Heaven's Gift on it, so yeah, not bad.
That's gonna make it so much stronger. I mean, whenever you upgrade a unit to 3-star that does have a Heaven's Gift, not only does the unit, of course, scale so well with the upgrade, but the item scales as well. That's the sick part, because it does give you that shield base off of its maximum health, which at 3-star is quite a lot, honestly.
Zugrug dropping down to 1%. Hosey just barely hanging on at 2%.
Classic
Neutron.
Lightblade pilot. Classic Lightblade Knight surviving on his own.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen that, honestly?
Typically Lightblade and Hell Knight. Yeah, Chuck also only at 27%, but his team it looks much better in my opinion than some of these like Zugrug or Hosey compositions. Of course, Hosey, I mean, if he had Vince's luck, he could just roll down here and get 3 Hell Knights, no problem, and be in really good shape.
I'm glad you're giving out solid advice to our players.
Yeah, Zugrug is obviously looking for that Dragon Knight, but has...
Jesus, yeah, he hasn't found it yet. That's so bad for him.
This
That's
is really
unlucky, honestly.
Yeah, he's going to get knocked out here, especially to Neutron, with the 2-star Tripula Elder with... Yeah, the refresher orb. Yeah. Actually, winning.
No,
wow,
yeah,
very impressive.
I did not see that coming either.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically Neutron has like a divinity buff without having any gods.
Yeah.
With all the refresher orbs. Who needs divinity buff when you have a refresher orb on all of your
carry mages? Exactly. Vincent actually really close now to a 3-star Lightblade Knight. All 3 of our bottom 3 players are just clinging to dear life, hoping to stay alive just one more round, not going down last place, right? And Vincent, though, winning against some of the top players in the lobby pretty easily, so I think he's going to be okay for now.
Yeah, also has that extra buffer. He basically has 10 more life than both Hosey and Zugrug.
Yeah, let's take a look at the top of the lobby real quick, though. We'll take one turn here, and hopefully all these players don't go out as we take a peek. But Sizzle actually picking up a 3-star Thunder Spirit. Still, I would egg this. I would egg the Dragon Knight.
Same here. What are you looking for, actually?
Yeah, probably just waiting for the Tortola Elder or waiting for one or the other, then egging the other one. But I just don't think you have that luxury right now in this game.
I think they go down. against Neutron being quite strong at this point. Sagrag is facing elimination here, I do believe. It's gonna be our play that's going out on 8th spot if Host is not being eliminated before.
Ooh,
It's close. Host actually does go out before Sagrag, who finally does go out. Did indeed hide in the corner in the most professional way. Does net him a point actually, so some APM skills working in his favor.
Yeah, and Neutron also kind of not necessarily on the chopping block as much as Vince is. Vince also lost that last round to Monty, actually.
Yeah, Monte's kind of been doing something I don't like doing. I mean, this turn he did get another Dwarf Sniper, but previously he went up to 7 gold and he kept rolling for Dwarf Sniper, even though he was 2 away. I think it's really a lot better to wait until you get to maybe like 20 gold before you go and roll down, or even the next creep round, because Monte is is not close to getting kicked out in the next round or the run after that. So make sure you have the best chance you can get to get the unit that you need, because otherwise you'll just be wasting money.
Yeah, kind of like you said, that gamble for the most part, and he's going to be okay against Neutron here. Vincent going to be okay against Chuck. Neutron taking slight damage to T-Tigers. Wow, Chuck actually dropping out of 10% now against Monty, pretty much getting destroyed.
So strong when he gets that Dwarf Sniper 3.
And the Swordman 3-star as well. He's sitting on his bench. But he does need something to put in for that Dwarf Sniper 3-star.
Yeah, so probably no rush to get a Swordman 3, given that he needs another unit to put in for now. But when he gets both of them, I'm sure he's going to find another unit to put in.
I'd be willing to bet Vincent's going to pick up a Lightblade 3-star here and not have to worry too much as far as his items are concerned.
I'm glad your personal experience has gone beyond your logic in these games.
Just knowing Vince and Chuck, they'll figure out a way to high roll.
He says with a slight dismay of disgust in his voice.
As I've felt firsthand.
Yeah, that does sound painful indeed. Yeah, let's see if Monty hits here. Okay, moment of truth. 14, 12, 10. Does find it. Wow, nice.
Easy.
Yeah, so he's probably going to put in that Swordman too. Gonna wait for...
Probably one more before he rolls down again.
Yeah, I think so. I think he should wait for some more interest points before he continues to go there. Does have a Frenzy Mass, so that's really nice on Dwarf Sniper 3, especially with that Urgus' bonus. It does become a lot stronger. Also, when it's protected by the Marine Shield, actually the life steal matters quite a lot. Just crushed that Doom Brother. Not caring too much about the Doom either. Already silenced from his items. It's taken a lot of damage though from the Venom, but it's gonna win either way with the help from that Marine buff against Monty. No, sorry, it's Neutron, I believe.
It was against T-Tigers.
Oh, okay, yeah, I didn't really see it.
Monty was up against T-Tigers there.
Yeah, you're right.
And T-Tigers taking quite a bit of damage from Vince honestly, too. Vince losing to Neutron, Monty beating T-Tigers, Chuck losing to Sizzle, and now Chuck and Vince, the Golden Boys,
kind of crazy,
if you will, on the chopping block.
They're always kind of following each other, whether it's to the depths of hell or up towards the skies.
Yeah.
Actually, I've never seen 2 refresh orbs, I felt like it was even more likely that 2 refresh orbs were this far and beyond from top 4. Yeah, that is crazy. Got a Thunder being hit, so 6 mages here.
Yep. Sizzle 6 mages versus Neutron, and his refresher orbs doesn't even give him a chance to get him off.
And they're gone. Yeah, that Thunder Spirit's so nice when you have 6 mages, honestly.
Chuck going down here. Vincent also going down here.
I think Chuck is ending before Vince.
Ooh, very close one too.
Basically the same second there, but Vince
following each other as always.
As always, hand in hand. Chuck is out, Vince is out.
So our 3 bubble players, Tiger, Monty, and Neutron, also performing very well. Sizzle also kind of on that edge too, being in that 4th position. So honestly, they all want Sizzle to not place very well, and I'm sure they all want to get
T-Tigers,
first place. Yeah.
Which is looking to be the case, honestly. Let's have a look at T-Tigers. Speaking on him, he does have 50 goals. He does find a Tsunami Stalker. It's kind of off place here. Probably looking actually to go up to 10, because we do have a lot of mage damage in this game. So if he goes up to 10, finds a Siren, he's going to be in a lot better shape. Also hoping to find that Doom Arbiter to level 2. There's a chance he also puts in another Dragonite at 2 if he finds another upgrade. He's kind of getting crushed by Neutron here. I think it's... How long away is he from 10? Okay, pretty far away. So he's probably going to look to do that at after round 35, I think.
Yeah, it's actually not as far away as we thought.
It's
a little
being
bit
updated,
behind, yeah.
Yeah, that does make sense.
I like to look at this one a little bit better, although it still has some of the guys that aren't in it anymore, but we do see Tigers pretty far away from leveling.
Yeah, Neutron actually going out at 4th position here.
Oh wow, all those refresher orbs, yeah. Getting knocked out.
Yeah. 4th position, not something to scoff at. Neutron being one of those bubble community boys. Really needing those points from 4th place is not awful. That's kind of where you want a place to be at least somewhat happy if you play a game of Auto Chess.
It's just crazy how Venom can single-handedly kill one unit.
Would really love to find some magic damage immunity. If you could find a Claw, that would actually be sick for Monty.
Yeah, Monty's actually looking really strong this game.
Yeah.
Just beat Sizzle. T-Tigers just lost to him by 8, and he's got some very key 3-stars in.
Ooh,
potentially going 4
Aegrises.
Aegrises. At this point, he probably won't add it in until 9, and the fact that he's actually still level 8 and doing this well is honestly kind of intriguing.
Yeah, I think he has a perfect... he has a perfect basic comp for this lineup. He does have 2 Marine units. He has Swordman that also doesn't care about magic damage, basically. He does have the Pirate Captain that stuns the backline, because most of these mage players kind of clump up. And also he has Dwarf Sniper to kind of pick off their backline, so you don't have to care too much about that God of War frontline or whatever it is. So yeah, I think his setup is awesome here, and that's really a testament to why he's still in this game, where there's a T-Tigers at level 10 already, and Sizzle also at level 9, with a really good lineup also.
Yeah, taking a quick peek at the items here, and all 3 players very stacked up on items, and for the most part, they're pretty equal. I mean, they all have different items to kind of match their teams, and it's about the way they use them now, but as far as equality, they're in a sense all equal. The only thing is that T-Tigers doesn't really have any mana items, so it is one thing to keep in mind, but he is he's taking some heavy damage here. Might even go... Oh, I was going to say, he might even go out here.
Yeah.
And that's
Sizzle looking really strong.
It's also crazy because T-Tigers has been in the lead for this entire game, and within 2 rounds, he's lost.
I actually love
heavy
Sizzle's team for 2 reasons. I mean, it's really the same reason, but he does have 6 mages, but we see that losing quite a bit, honestly, against Dragon Mage a little bit later in the game, because they don't have the same amount of sustainable damage. But you know why it has such sustainable damage? He has 3 stars, his 2 units with the lowest cooldown. It's Thunder Spirit and it's Shining Dragon. And together with that source, just keep on dashing out damage every turn. And I think that's really a testament to why he's doing so well. I mean, a lot of this kind of knight or whatever front line from Marines or whatever you have, it's gonna survive the initial burst, and then it's important to have units that could continue to dish out that damage.
Yeah, and with that Thunder Spirit also being
getting
a 3-star, he's
yeah,
able to hit every single unit on the board for the most part. T-Tigers, though,
he's gonna be out.
He did pick up a God of Thunder 2-star right at the end there, but yeah, he's going to take a 3rd place, and with Monty and Sizzle being above him, those are the two players that are above him in the ranking. So
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, he's not going to gain any points on either of them, actually.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it, but all three of these players super happy about being in top 3. Kind of a part of the bubble community, so yeah, really important for them. We did see Monty go up to 9, so he does have that 4 aggresses now, so he should be looking real strong. Although Sissel, I mean, he has those 3-star, super crazy good, honestly, mage unit when you have 6 mages, so it's gonna be interesting to see if Monty can survive here, basically. Both of this lineup has so much DPS, honestly, but that dwarf sniper is going down to the Venom. Venom's probably is the most important unit at this point from Sissel's side. However, that Swordman is so tanky. He must be stacked on items as he kind of just protected his entire team from those auto attacks. Yeah, we see him having an immense amount of armor, that Dragonbone shield, of course, and a lucky coin. So Swordman looking, yeah, Swordman is kind of a beast here.
Yeah, and he has the 4 aggresses in now at level 9. And he's picking up the Tsunami Stalker to potentially, instead of going for aggresses, to just throw in Tsunami Stalker as well as a Abyssal Crawler.
Yeah, that does make sense. Maybe decreasing his damage a little bit, but Sissel running 6 mages, that's basically all of his damage getting reduced by so much.
Yeah, I definitely feel this would be
That is smart, actually.
a way smarter decision if he can actually
Maybe
find
at
the
that
Abyssal
point
Crawler.
his Dwarf Sniper might be able to survive a little bit longer too, which should basically make him deal a lot more damage in the end anyways. Yeah, but he's still kind of crushing it here. Yeah, I think Monte is gonna win this almost for sure. I don't see Sissel adding almost anything that could help him here, because Monte is winning by quite a fair margin every round here. The only reason why we're seeing the game kind of prolong is because Sissel had so much extra life to work with. He does have 50 gold though at Glacier Clan, so can roll, I'm sorry, not roll down, but can pump in all of that money to go to 10. But I wonder, is this Storm Shaman gonna be enough? I don't know. That's still a lot of damage though with 6
with
mages.
6 mages, it's gonna pretty much run through that magic resistance, but
especially if you can silence the Swordman before he gets the spin-off, that could be detrimental, because we have seen Swordman really getting that spin-off so early, and that means he survives all of the initial burst, and then just, much like a Hell Knight, just continues to cut down the backline.
Yeah.
Alright, what items do we have here? Any big upgrades? Ain't seen nothing yet. Okay, finding a Wraith Shard there from Monty, Life Crystal as well, and a Rune Hammer. As well as this, picking up a staff. Okay, so he does not go up to 10.
Nothing too crazy.
Yes.
Oh, Barbaric Cures for the 3-star Swordman for Monty. Also adding Dragonbone Shield on both Abyssal Crawler and
Abyssal Guard.
I'm sorry, Abyssal Guard as well as Swordman. And then, of course, Scythe of Vice now
That is not bad.
picked up for the Tortola Elder. And I'm just going to do this.
Oh, there we go. And let's see if the Storm Shaman is going to be enough from Sissel. Going up to 10, as we said. This Swordman does get off his spin, though, and it is going to survive through that initial burst, and then it's basically going to crush Monty Sissel once more on his board, and that's almost going to be it. Sissel is kind of down to the wire here. I'd be desperate if I was Sissel. I mean, you waited until Glacier Clan, you went up to 10, spent all of your money basically. Now the only thing he can honestly get is some God of Thunder 2 maybe?
God of Thunder 2, also Flaming Wizard 2 would be nice. Helicopter is a pretty big pickup, but he doesn't really have much room to add it in.
Yeah, not if he maybe he could cut that pirate captain, but I do really like it for the I guess he does have the 4 humans anyways, but still nice magic damage, of course, and CC that you so desperately need against that kind of hunter backline.
We do have Monty with the full marine now.
Did you see that split?
Yeah.
Yeah, both Storm Shaman and Pirate Captain actually used their spells on a lone Dwarf Sniper that did survive both of them anyways, so kind of perfect split for Monty. That's going to make him defend on his board. And once more, he crushed Sissel, honestly, dealing 12 additional damage. This is not going to be closed. And Monty, in caps, shouts outclassed. A bit of BM here, but, you know, probably pretty happy about being able to win this current lobby.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge for Monty being in 4th position right now, picking up 9 huge points, especially over T-Tigers and Neutron, who are all trying to gun for his spot, basically. So going into the one last game, he is looking really, really good.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a bit of a character. We can see that. Classic Storm Shaman using his ult on a lone Abyssal Crawler in the back line. Not the greatest, and also kind of a typical issue for mage players alike, that sometimes their spell just doesn't hit right, and then it can be over just like that. As powerful as they are, they have some issues with how certain their spells are.
Yeah, no, super impressive with Monty coming back, clawing his way into this with these hunter builds, as we've seen, being so predominant, and also adding in full marine.
Yeah, I love that.
Which is crazy. I was really concerned about that full Aegis for a second there, because there wasn't really much to do with that. No one was really building warriors, so swapping those out was a very smart decision for Monty.
For sure. And do you think that Sisson in his own right could have gone away from maybe those 6 mages as Monty was kind of slowly going towards those marine units, maybe getting some more solid front line? He only had a pirate captain, really. I don't know. I felt like the reason why Monty won is that, first of all, his lineup was already really good at dealing with all of these mage players in the lobby, but he went the extra mile to kind of get it over the top. While Sissel, he didn't really change anything. He has kept building on his lineup to make it better in a vacuum, but not especially better against Monty.
I think one of the things that Sizzle could have done as well is realizing how low of HP Monty was going into some of those earlier rounds before he got the 4 Marine in, and using that gold that he had saved up to get his God of Thunder 2-star potentially, get that Flaming Wizard 2-star, and doing things a little bit earlier on to push Monty out before he actually got into his full build.
Right, the difference between Monty and Sissel there is that Monty had the flexibility to build something different, while maybe Sissel was a bit more locked into his lineup, and as you said, as a result of that, maybe should have pushed the envelope a little bit. With that being said, we're going to go into a break, and right after that we'll have the scoreboard ready for you before the last game of the entire tournament, actually.
Yeah, of the league.
It's been insane, yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see who's going to have the chance to go to Shanghai, but until then, stay with us. Welcome back to the House Cup with GLL. I'm here with Clatana. I'm Joe Larson. So excited, I can barely speak the words. We're gonna go into the final and last game of the NA qualifier, going to Shanghai, and it's gonna go down the wire. I'm honestly so excited.
I'm quite nervous.
Yeah,
I'm quite nervous because I know what these players are feeling, and I just wish them all the best. They've all played so hard over these past few days, and I'm really proud of all of them representing NA.
Woo. Hooray. Okay, so here we have the scoreboard. Chuck in first place, really cemented himself. Nobody can really beat him at this point. There's no way he won't be in the top 4, so good on him. Sissel following together with Vince, actually at 36 points, so looking really good for them. I believe they have a really good chance to get in also. Then we have Monty at 33 points. So Monty is really looking to secure this 4th position for himself. And he does have a bit of a leap to T-Tigers being at 5th place. Neutron following by 26 points. And Host and Sagrag 17 and 16. They won't be able to make it, of course. Really, the only players who have a chance of getting 4th is Monty, T-Tigers, and Neutron. Those are the ones that's kind of fighting over the last spot.
Yeah, so looking at this, Chuck, Sizzle, and Vince are in
Yeah.
if T Tigers doesn't get first. Monty is in as long as he can get himself 3 points and T Tigers not get first. T Tigers getting first is going to spice things up a little bit for sure. Although Neutron and Hosty and Zugrug a little bit far out of the running right now.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing who claims that fourth position. We saw in the European qualifiers there was actually multiple players fighting for multiple spots. We had a kind of sick going down to the tiebreaker where fourth and fifth had the same amount of points. Let's see if it's going to be as interesting. I'm kind of excited. I mean, it's hard not to be.
Like I said, if T Tigers gets first, it's going to spice things up completely.
For sure. As I was saying, it's hard not to be excited at this point. We have been sitting for about 52 hours at this point watching Auto Chess together with you. It's been a pleasure, and this is kind of the culmination of that. Who's going to go to Shanghai, who's not. I'm almost as nervous as you at this point, and I'm not even a part of NA. What do you think are we going to see? We saw so many majors last game, right? Is it going to be the same? And then even, you saw this Hunter Bull kind of crushing them all.
Yeah.
Is that going to change anything?
I mean, obviously Chuck wants to solidify himself a first place finish for that extra money. And looking at Sizzle and Vincent's positioning here, they really don't have to do much. They just need to not get last. Basically, at the end of the day, that's what they need. So going a little bit more conservative and not maybe rolling or doing anything too sporadic in order to make them completely out of this. They
don't go Feather Hunter, don't go 6 Assassins. That's my tip for you, my friends.
The other thing that can make a difference as well is looking at Hosty and Zugrug that are a little bit farther out of the running. If they do something kind of interesting, that might make them go out much quicker, right? Because they know that they might not necessarily still move on. They might not care as much, but of course, they're still trying to get a couple ranks higher in order to make a little bit of extra money. So hoping that everybody is still playing to their absolute best of their abilities, that would be really the best situation at the end of the day.
I would assume so. I mean, these players are playing tons of game at home every day, right? For basically no money. And here they have a game at a high stage, being able to play for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, and you can't give up that chance. I mean, there's no real downside to trying your best at this point. Earning a nice chunk of change for some of these players.
Yeah, Monty actually with a 2-star God of War start. He is the person to beat right now at this very moment. So T Tigers trying to claw his way back into it, but he needs to be the one that's getting first place. So I think right now all eyes are on T Tigers because it's really Monty's placement to lose, T Tigers placement to gain with that 6-point gap between 4th and 5th.
Yeah, and the way that T Tigers can get in, just as you said, but he does indeed need a first place. It's kind of the same situation for Neutron, actually. He's also at 26 points. If he does indeed win, he does go up to 35, and Monty has 33. So if Monty is in 7th or 8th, Neutron can actually claim that 4th position also. So this is really a game between 3 players. Then Vince and Sizzle, they're both on 36 points. So T Tigers can't really catch either of them unless unless one of them loses. Yeah,
he can catch them.
Yeah, he can, but Neutron can't.
Neutron can't, no. Yeah, but only T Tigers can catch them if they get last.
Well, one of them they can't catch, right? Because one of them will automatically get 1 point if they're 7th and 8th. But he can catch one of the others. But at that point, it's going to be down to tiebreaker. So a lot of things has to go right, like miracle right, for them to catch either of them. So it's really going to be a match between Neutron, T Tigers, and Monty at this point, trying to go for that 4th position. I mean, even Monty can get a higher position, but they're all kind of fighting for the last spot.
But if you think about it too, Monty is 6 points ahead of T Tigers, which is a lot to gain. That is no easy task to gain 6 points on somebody. Also, Neutron is now 7 points away, so he has to get at least...
Hold on.
Yeah.
Actually, if either Sizzle or Vince loses, they could actually be out. If T Tigers wins, he goes up to 36 points. That's the same amount of points. And if Monty has a good finish too, he actually leaps beyond both Sissy or Vince if they indeed do lose. So then it's going to come down to a tiebreaker between either Sizzle or Vince and T Tigers if that exact thing happens. So actually both Sizzle and Vince is threatened to getting kicked out. It's
They just
unlikely,
need to
but it's
not
possible.
get last.
Yeah.
That's what their whole goal. Don't get last, and
Yeah.
nothing else matters. Honestly, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So as soon as they see somebody go out, I promise you they are going to take a big sigh of relief, for lack of a better word. And
Sizzle going for a lose streak here and has kind of the dream lose streak with a fair amount of piggy banks, honestly,
yeah.
on his board. Yeah.
So he's, I mean, a lose streak open for right now to not
I
get
think
last
it's better.
place.
I think it's better than middling. We have seen a lot of these middling players going out in 8th where they can't really attain too much health, nor do they attain the amount of kind of economy to kind of survive the mid game.
I don't know. I really feel like it's a big risk putting yourself into an open fort situation where you have a much higher chance of just messing up and getting 8th than you do if you're
I don't know.
middling with high economy
I
and
would agree
keeping
with
that
you.
HP as much as you can.
I would agree with you like a couple of days ago, but after seeing like this last, especially these 2 final lobbies, I felt like the ones going out in 8th is like 80% of the chances the ones that haven't been able to get a good win streak, nor have they been able to kind of keep their or get a lose streak, should I say, and also have the enough life. So they have to move in too quickly because they have a low life, but they also don't have that extra economy that you should get if you would have had a lose streak.
I don't know. I'm nervous for him.
I can see that.
I'm over here like
basically, yeah, Clayton
sweating.
is sitting here sweating. For those who can't see, I'm sitting here, of course, right next to him. Let's have a look at Monty. Monty is our bubble boy currently.
Oh, he is high rolling.
He has, oh my lord, this is such a good start. He has a God of War 2 at round 7. He has 2 more on the bench. He has a Ripper 2 at this point, and 2 Dwarf Snipers. Honestly, at this point, I don't think he should go for Divinity Mages, for the simple reason that he doesn't want to have a bad finish. I mean, Divinity Mages is kind of the lineup you want to use if you want to get first, I feel like, because it's kind of that super late game build, but it can fail, right? I think it's more solid to just enable a good front line with that second God of War, for example, and then kind of build a solid backline. Divinity being really good against Glacier Knights in the late game, as we've seen.
I feel like he should get rid of the Lord of Sand, possibly to economize himself here.
For Shining Dragon, yeah, he
there
does
he
do
goes.
that super smart.
Perfect. Good job,
Very
Monty.
nice.
And he did lose to Chuck because if there's anybody that's high rolling more so, and he's not even really high rolling. I
It's a
think Chuck is just
Chuckster.
being very smart with the units that he's pulling, with adding that dwarf sniper in with the spirit bonus as well. So it's so crazy how important that is. But he's not gonna beat Monty twice. So
No,
Chuck is
not
gonna lose
against
his
2
win
God of
streak
Wars.
as
They
well.
don't care about the spirit buff. No, of course not attacking, only using that cooldown and his ball to deal damage.
Yeah, and he actually takes 8 damage round 8 because of all those 2
That
stars.
is sick, actually.
And Vincent, of course, in the running for first place, so he really wants to get first this game.
But can also get 5th, remember? Potentially.
As long as he doesn't get last.
I mean, we have seen some
We
weird
have
stuff
seen some weird
happening.
stuff. This is true. But of course,
T-Tires,
Vincent does want to go for first, and he does have an opportunity to snag first place and take home that extra money.
Oh yeah, it's 6K instead of 3
Yeah,
also. That's a big
huge.
deal.
That is
Yeah.
huge. That's double the money.
Oh wow. With your beautiful anime math, figuring
Yeah.
that out
I did.
yourself. I'm
That's
so
double.
impressed.
3,000 plus 3,000 is
I'm glad we're
6,000.
finally agreeing on something. How about Monty? What is he working with?
That is the one we just
Yeah,
looked at.
right. But how is he gonna transition from this? He is looking at 2 shining dragons there, maybe trying to move into the god, sorry, not god, but Dragon Mage comp. It's a little bit far away to tell, but I mean, honestly, this is like the perfect opportunity to go into Divinity.
Yeah. He also just sold that 3-cost Argali Knight in order to get 20 gold here on the creep round.
If there's some players that are really good at hitting those kind of interest points and really thinking about it instead of making their bench big, so you lose some interest points, and if that happens, you can fall into the kind of middling issues. Is Monty and Chuck, I feel, and that really speaks to the reason why they're in such high positions in the scoreboard. Of course, Chuck leading at 40 points and Monty at 33 at 4th position.
And here we have the item lists across the board. Vincent low rolling items for sure.
As we say that,
Picking up 3 items here from 3 creeps. Naturally, very nice. Hosty with a pair of mana items.
Monty almost has a God of War 3. This could be the earliest God of War 3 that we've seen so far. He's definitely going into Divinity. I mean, we've seen Ripper being super good with Divinity, honestly. Wind Ranger also working so well with that.
Yeah. I mean, Wind Ranger is going to be insane right here. He's going to do all the damage for the most part. And then having such a tanky frontline, that also does damage in an AoE fashion. Up against T-Tigers, doesn't have to worry about it. He's good. Because T-Tigers is also making me Monka-esque a little bit here because he is open fording and Sizzle no longer open fording. Thank you, but is he going into Feathered Hunter? Please tell me he's not going into Feathered Hunter. He's going into Feathered Hunter.
He's
okay. All right. Sizzle.
Why would you do that?
He's
everything is online. This is like the riskiest strategy you could do.
He's also seen several people go out 8th by trying this strategy as well. Not. I mean, okay. So he's going Feathered Hunter now, but he still has time to transition out. Okay, Sizzle, don't make me so nervous, please. T-Tigers though now picking up some items, of course, because he is now fully economized here.
Yeah, this is really Sizzle's game to lose and T-Tiger's game to win, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Even same with Monty, honestly. I mean, we talk a lot about T-Tigers going over Sizzle and Vince, or potentially either of them, I mean, and kind of defeating them on a tiebreaker. However, it's most likely going to be between Monty and T-Tigers. And if T-Tigers is going to win over Monty, he needs a definite lead. Monty can't finish in the top 4 basically. If finish in 4th, he's gonna get not 1 or 0 but 1, 2, 3, 4 points, and that's gonna put him to 37 points, and at that point T-Tigers can't actually beat him, so he needs Monty to be in 5th at the very least if he's gonna win.
Yeah. So if Monty gets top 4, he's solidified himself a ticket to Shanghai.
Yep. That's all
Monty needs is top 4, and he's looking really strong right now to actually get that. T-Tigers, 53% HP. Sizzle, 62% HP. Both stopping their open forts, so making me a little less nervous about everything. But I believe both of them still losing. Yes, both of them still losing, keeping their lose streaks
we really
going.
see these players want to turn around at round 15. After that, that's where it starts to hurt. Some players going up to 7, and yeah, you really need to turn around at some point, and 15 is really the golden standard. It lets you get another point of interest, so you can then go in for a big power spike after that.
Yeah, Monty actually going up to 7 here in order to push these players that are lose streaking out and put a little pressure on them, which I'm sure he sees the one player that is threatening him.
This is so smart, actually.
Open fording into a lose streak, so he wants to basically allow them to get put up against him so he can do more damage with all of these 2-star units. It's gonna be really
2-star
oh
Ripper.
no 3-star plus the Ripper.
Oh my lord.
I saw that coming. I was like, this is gonna happen right now, and
Jesus
wow,
Christ,
this is absolutely
Monty is gonna
insane.
He's gonna win streak until I don't know. He's gonna win streak on well and beyond the game is actually over. It feels like
until beyond the game is over. He's gonna be winning all the way to Shanghai.
Yeah, really taking a page out of Charlie Sheen's playbook here, continuing to win all day long. do gotta...
Imagine if this game
Oh no.
got reset.
Yeah, I don't think so. We have seen a lot of these small little disconnects from the system, and it's usually and we can really just re-enter the game, as the spectator mode can be a little
Yeah.
wonky sometimes, but
Yeah.
usually working just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully.
As I say that with my cassette curse.
Yeah. everything's fine. We're gonna
Yeah.
be fine. Nothing's wrong here.
Yeah, we're not gonna miss any of the action as we see the lobby being paused in the meantime.
Yes. So Vincent going for first place. Monty, a little too far away from trying to get first, I believe. Unless Chuck ends last place, Monty could actually randomly get himself into first place into Shanghai. If he gets first place,
It's possible.
things happen. He is actually that close. And he's rolling extremely well, of course, and rolling into a he's high rolling gods.
Yeah.
High rolling gods, there's just some things that you know you can't
Beat.
And
Yeah.
at this point, if there's somebody you can't
Yeah.
beat, it's Monty with that 3-star God of War.
If Monte does indeed win the entire lobby, he's going to be up to 42 points, which means that Chuck has to finish 8th, 7th, or 6th. And at 6th place, he's going to be a tiebreaker. He gets an extra 3K. So, yeah, still a long ways to go for him to be in third position.
Yeah.
But even at second position, he does get that big 3K money. A nice weekend for him indeed. I mean, and that's, of course, we're not even talking about the grand prize, about going to Shanghai
Yeah.
and playing for that $1 million tournament, probably even more EV than that 3K, I'd assume.
Of course, I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure just for getting there, they're gonna get that much. But man, this game is already a roller coaster ride of emotions, just like the European game 8 was.
Oh
for
yeah,
me
that
as
was
well.
a glorious thing to watch.
Yeah, that one was so intense and
Something we can
came
really,
straight down to the
yeah.
wire. But the fact that there's such powerful players right now, and these guys are just making me so nervous. Dropping down to 36% HP. T-Tigers, come on, pick it up here. He needs to get into first, of course, and his team is still looking
Yeah.
semi.
He's working in
rough.
towards a kind of nice endgame lineup, though. If you really look at it,
Yeah.
he's one away from the Werewolf 2, and that is so good in that Dragon Mage lineup that is already started with at the bench, because that is of course one of those humans. So it's gonna be easier to get 4 humans, especially also with a pirate captain. So it's gonna be enough with the source and when he finds that Dragonite. So really starting with enabling his front line. And that's nice for another reason, because one of the most important things you got to think about when you're loose streaking is being strong enough when the wolf front comes around, because you want to be able to get all of those items. Of course, wolf front along Glacier Clan being the most amount of items you can get in one single round.
Yeah, and he did just fine against the wolf round here, picking up several items. Overall, everybody's got some mana items for themselves, except for Vincent and
And actually, we see
Neutron.
2 Magicka crystals, which means he doesn't even have to play the source at some point. Could play that Tutrola Elder in his Dragon Mage comp, as I assume he will be going into. Yeah, I think he's looking really good here. He has like a nice way to transition, and he has a very potential powerful endgame strategy, which is what he needs if he's going to win this game.
Yeah, and this is the matchup that he doesn't want right now, which is taking a lot of damage from 3 stars and 2 stars. And double ships hit at the same exact time, so a little bit less effective for him, unfortunately. And
Yeah, this God of War just can't be killed at this point.
Yeah, he's going to lose, but actually not taking as much damage as it could have been.
I love him putting all of his item on the Flaming Wizard, anticipating that he will get a Tutrola Elder later anyway, so he can sell that and move that Magicka crystal to the Tutrola Elder. But being under 30%, he really needs to turn around at this point. I think we're gonna see him roll down a little bit here. Yeah, find source 2. Kind of awkward when he has those Magicka crystals already. Does find a Doom Arbiter, could remove one of these, like a little bit less stronger warriors, maybe the Red Axe Chief. Does find Venom 2 also upgrades Flaming Wizard. So rolling down quite a lot here. I would assume he's gonna sell some things on his bench to kind of hit at least 20 gold for that interest, waiting which the next unit is going to sell. And this is really smart. Seeing if he's going to win or not, getting that extra gold might impact the choice of which units he's going to sell for that additional gold. And of course, crushing Sizzle. Still kind of in a loose streak position, I'd assume, because he is not looking great at all. Yeah, what does this Sizzle actually work with? I didn't see a lot of 2-star whatsoever. Loose streak and still into Feather Hunter, yeah, and still keeping that Fortune Teller because he knows he's weak currently.
Yeah, and he also has to be aware too that, I mean, T-Tigers, the other loose streaker, did go all in 1 round earlier than he did. Also, Hosty still sitting on 50 gold, which, again, I feel like he did that last game where he waited until the creep round, and by then he only had about 6% HP left. And I think this is going to be similar to what he's doing now again this game.
Yeah,
and
I
it's just
kind of
not
like
effective.
Kind of like Sizzle waiting 1 more round because he has the Fortune Teller to roll all the way down. Really kind of place you want to stop at is above 30%, and it's so unlikely he's gonna go lower than 30% with that extra Fortune Teller. Session might win this round.
Well, he got put up against Hosty, who's another.
No, he does lose, but he won't go below 30%, and that's really what's important for Sizzle here. And I think Sizzle's gonna. He has to roll down a lot more this round to get an upgrade and remove that Fortune Teller finally.
I mean, now you're into round 19 where you can decide, okay, am I going to take this extra loose streak or am I going to save the HP?
That's a good point. Yeah, it seems like Sizzle is going to greed a bit more, which makes me quite nervous at this point because the only thing he has to do is not getting last place and taking risks at that point. I don't know. There's other people that are really low in this lobby.
This is...
Yeah, everyone...
This is rough.
I know this game is enjoyable, but what's even more enjoyable is looking at Claytano now as sweat is dripping left and right. You should see how nervous he is, and I mean, I'm nervous, but yeah.
I can only imagine what Sizzle's feeling right now, and he's got to know what it's going to take in order to get him onto Shanghai. And I mean, the other thing he needs to know is that he's in a spot where not only does he not need to get last, but he also needs T-Tigers to get first.
That's true.
In order to knock him out. So that's the only thing.
Basically stars aligning.
Yeah, that's the only thing. And T-Tigers also in a similar situation to Sizzle, but a little bit more rolled down.
Can I sell this Fortune Teller now, I assume? But actually, let's have a look at Monty, because we're talking a lot about Sizzle getting in last place and us being nervous for him, but more likely this is going to be a battle between Monty and T-Tigers to get that 4th position, but I don't know. Monty is not going to go out this quickly. He's had a basically infinite win streak, and he's looking so strong.
He actually lost it last round to Vincent, which we haven't actually taken a look at for a while, and honestly, Monty hasn't gotten stronger for about 5 rounds now.
Yeah, but did have a very long win streak before that, looking super healthy. Still full economized going into this creep round. Gonna see him probably go up to 8 at round 21, I'd assume, and then roll down a little bit, hoping to find that 2-star Storm Shaman.
Okay, so this is why Vincent's in first place right now. He would assume to go up to 8, yes, which he does. Has the double Dragonites in, and yeah, he's looking strong.
Yeah, doesn't have that long of a win streak, right? Or does Vincent have a win streak?
I
don't really want to look at that. Yeah,
3.
Okay, not the longest win streak, so doesn't have to push too much, actually, to make himself stronger. Doesn't really have a long win streak to protect at this point. Let's have a look at Sizzle again, because he did roll down all the way to 0. Did find a 3-star Taboo Witcher. Did find that Razor Claw as well, only level 1 so far. Did also find a 3-star Whisper Seer. Is able to win against Sagrug, and Sagrug is actually in 3rd place, so Sizzle getting a few upgrades here. It does have an Egg and a Razor Claw on the bench, so close to some even more upgrades actually.
Hosey not in a bad position either with the 3-star Hell Knight and a 3-star Lightblade Knight. Combined, He just now needs to get up to probably level 8. Toss in
Oh,
a
wow.
Soul Reaper. Wow,
Jesus.
look at this team. He
This is
is
insane. This is
quite high rolled, actually.
without druids. Have you ever seen this many 3-star? Honestly, beyond from Reddit, of course, but in an actual game,
Um,
I haven't.
at round 22, 3 2-stars, or
Three
3 stars. 2 of them being 2 cost and 1 of them being 1 cost. No, this is.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I've seen a lot of games of auto chess, but this is actually really crazy for Hosty,
for sure, for sure.
which is obviously scary for these people that are right here, because the stronger that the entire lobby is, the stronger that they have to be to not lose basically twice. They can't lose twice at this point.
Sure.
And here's once.
Oh. Going down to 13 for Sizzle. I think he has a lot of potential upgrades actually on his bench, like egging that Razor Claw, for example. Yeah, I think he could get an upgrade. He's probably potentially going to use that soon. Probably saw if he was strong enough to kind of re-economize before using that egg, but seeing as he lost now, he is probably going to do everything in his power to get at least 1 upgrade or even 2.
Yeah, this is...
Can't believe he went for this, honestly.
Yeah, and he's not upgrading his Razor Claw because he's waiting to see if he can get 1 more, I would assume, to get to 3-star, but he can already make it and get it to 3-star.
Did find another one.
No, he had it on the bench already. Okay,
Oh.
That's what he was waiting for the Shining Assassin, I suppose.
Shining Archer, yeah.
Or yeah, Shining Archer.
A lot of shining stuff in this game.
He sold his his second Dwarf Sniper on the bench, though, to get it.
items, yeah.
Did he? Oh, to get the items.
Yeah. Shining Archer now has basically all the items, and it makes sense to put all of your items on your strongest backline unit. Yeah. Sizzle just is pushing so he can stay alive. As long as someone else in this lobby goes out before him, he's of course secure to go to Shanghai. But this is, I mean, T-Tiger is kind of rising like the ashes from the Phoenix here. Thus, is able to survive against Chuck, but Chuck not. I guess Chuck did go all in here, so he should be kind of strong. Does lose to T-Tiger, so T-Tiger is actually looking super strong. Chuck just went all in,
Vincent
and he lost to
also-
T-Tigers by a lot.
Vincent also very excited to see Chuck rolled all in and still losing with 17% HP.
True.
Because that could mean $3,000 extra for
Yeah,
Vincent.
I mean, we host tournaments for way less than that, but we're barely caring about the 3K, which kind of tells a story about how much some people are playing for in this final game of.
Yeah, and honestly though, Chuck
lobby.
with double 2-star
Jesus.
Dragonites, you'd be
Surprised that he actually
surprised
lost.
that he's
yeah.
still losing.
Yeah. That I want to look at T-Tigers because he has to be so strong to win against that.
No, just a 1-star Dragonite.
Wow, I'm actually surprised he was able to get Chuck there.
Up
Must
against
have had a
Vincent
good
right now.
point of
who's
RNG. Yeah.
Pretty much high rolled, not high rolled, but like win streaked himself all the way up.
Yeah,
And yeah, T-Tigers is gonna lose this.
for sure. Going down to right under 20% here to 18. Something that both
Wow,
Sizzle.
Neutron goes out, so
Sizzle is
therefore
good. Yeah, that
Vincent
means that
and Sizzle are both good.
yeah.
They're on.
Okay, so
100%.
top 3 is finished. It's gonna be Chuck, Sizzle, and Vince, and we don't know which exact positions they're gonna be.
Yeah.
They're all gonna be in the top 4, I should say. Monty can also still be in this top position. So
Yeah.
now it's only a battle between Neutron, T-Tigers, and Monty to be able to claim the 4th position.
Yeah. And Sizzle, I would assume, is going to go out pretty quickly here.
Yeah,
Obviously not in the creep round, but he's... I mean, this is going to lose to a lot of those mage teams, I would assume. And it's also going to lose to Hosty, which is... I mean, he's just... I don't know what the Lord of Sand is for. I guess... Yeah, I don't know.
He just has that probably because he doesn't want to buy anything in his shop, and also he wants interest points before he goes all in.
Yeah.
I think. Hosty, of course, being in 7th place, only looking to play for money, really, at this point.
Yeah, but if Hosty knocks out 2 more people,
Yeah,
and then that will solidify Monty's
that's true.
spot in
That's
as
a good
well. So
point.
Lots of things happening really quickly. Also, a lot of players at very low HP, except for Vincent and Monty, really are the only healthy ones still in this lobby. At round 26, the fact that there's so many people that are just barely clinging to life is also fairly concerning. T-Tiger's picking up a 2-star Doom, and now one off his Dragon Knight and one off a 3-star Swordman. Fully rolled all in. Sizzle gets his 3-star Warpwood Sage, so I'm sure he's feeling good. And honestly, at this point, if I was playing Hunter Feathered back in, you know, a couple patches ago, this would be something that you can easily turn into a top finish.
Not even a couple of patches ago. Basically, the same patches, but a different metagame, if you will, because it's taken some time for this metagame to really get a hold, and I feel like, especially, it's also a change during this tournament, right? Yeah. Towards this point where, at the beginning of the tournament, a lot of people went for Feathered, and we have really seen through this tournament that it's actually pretty bad at this point. Yeah.
And the Shiny Archer stunning the Flaming Wizard for a solid 10 seconds or more, I would say, because the gap in ranks is so long between Sizzle and Vincent. And of course, that's how the skill works there. The farther in rank you are, the longer the stun actually is. So that alone was what brought him into victory against Vincent. But a lot of people now picking up some more upgrades. We have T-Tigers getting his 2-star Dragon Knight.
Yeah, big deal there for T-Tigers.
Yeah, huge, especially being rolled all in. That was a very, very lucky roll. Zugrug, we haven't watched too much here, but he did pick up his 3-star Lightblade Knight and is going Knight's Glacier with the additional Soul Reaper, classic build from him. Monty now.
Yep, he's still in
strong.
Gods.
Yep.
Yeah, it's looking super, super strong. Yeah, kind of has the kind of optimal build, if you will, for Gods. He's kind of following it like it's a recipe here, and it's gonna look to potentially exchange that Wind Ranger for a Siren once he gets that to 2-star, and also putting in maybe another Storm Shaman, or is he gonna get Storm Shaman 3?
Yeah.
Sizzle does go out, but I mean,
No
that's fine at this point.
Yeah,
right?
it's fine at this point.
The only thing it's gonna lose from playing these Feather Hunters are
possibly
money, basically.
$1,000 or two.
That's not nothing. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, he was in second place going into this. He could lose. I mean, he was in the same spot as Vince was.
For sure.
He could have lost $6,000. Right?
Yep.
So quite a feathered hunter build finish. Yeah. I mean, that's what we expect. He had the feathered hunter build that everybody tries to go to and just gets 7th or 8th.
Yeah.
Just loses, right?
finding a Hell Knight 3.
Yeah, Zagrag actually now having a lot of his key units, so this is actually going to put
Knight players being strong at this point.
Yeah, it's going to put way more pressure on the lobby, and Zagrug not necessarily playing for Shanghai, but is playing for some extra money. If he can knock out Hosty, he can actually grab a couple extra dollars.
For sure, yeah. Especially with Nuchon was in 6th place at 26 points. I guess it's not going to climb over him, but he could go beyond Hosted, just as you said. Yeah, being a full 10 points between 6th and 8th place here in the lobby.
Yeah, Chuck actually taking even more damage here, and the closer Chuck gets to death, the sooner Vincent can feel like it is possible to snag a first place in this lobby. And looks like we have been
disconnected as a spectator.
Slightly disconnected as the spectator, yes, of course. And every time
Pausing
this
the game,
happens,
of course.
Also the game's been disconnected.
No. Yeah, we of course make sure that we pause so we don't miss any of the action.
Yes.
From the especially
you
from
said
the last game.
Pause the game, of course, not also the game, of course.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, my English is not getting better by the hour. I'll tell you that much. Of course, we're in the basically in the Swedish morning.
I'm a little on edge right now, as you know. So
you're a little amped.
I am a little amped. I had a little bit of a energy boost coming into this game, and I mean, it's just right down to the wire. There's already people getting knocked out. The final game 8 of the NA Championship.
I'm super pumped to see who between Monty and T-Tigers actually does get there. Or also Neutron. We can't forget about Neutron being only 1 point behind T Tigers.
Neutron finished 8th though.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah, Neutron is gonna at least solidify a 6th place. That's something. I'm sorry, I couldn't come up with anything. But it's gonna be between T Tigers and Monty, who's gonna be in 4th.
Yeah, and it's still anyone's game. I mean, T Tigers is trying to claw his way up. We did see Monty coming back from a 10% HP deficit last game to really just get himself back into this tournament at a very nice manner.
Yeah, can I see him cut the Wind Ranger at this point? I think does have 2 Storm Shamans. I think each Storm Shaman is still stronger than a Wind Ranger at this point. I would like to see that Storm Shaman, or sorry, Siren in play. Does Wind Ranger have any mana item? It does have the Magic Crystal, so selling it really does make sense to give that instead to the Siren. Crushing Vincent actually, which is
I mean,
first position here.
You have so much damage coming from these Storm Shamans that I mean, 3,000 damage is coming from Wind Ranger. It's still quite a bit.
It's true.
Still quite a bit. Vincent actually now taking a loss to T Tigers, but T Tigers at 7% HP. Chuck at 11%. Chuck also looks really good, beating Monty, no less. So even though these players are right on the edge here, they are definitely nowhere close to going out. And it is creep round 30, so it does give everybody a little bit of a breather room. He did pick up this Tusk champion just in case he does happen to get a 3-star Dragonite. You can throw in a third warrior here.
Oh yeah, I guess he didn't have any other stronger warrior to get. At least it's not one of those who is actually gonna cost him gold, since he doesn't have that Thunder Spirit. It's not gonna buy a Stone Spirit either. Probably won't end up mattering. It's kind of unlikely that he hits the Dragonite, and even if he does, it's unlikely he doesn't find a better choice. Wow, picks up some really good items here. Kira Axe and Dragon Blood Axe also. It's maybe gonna enable him to get some nice items. He does have that Dracula mask already, so could make that into something.
Yeah, I mean, looking down the line here, he definitely got some really nice items. Zuggerog also with some pretty decent items as well. Monty putting a Wraith Shard onto a Storm Shaman just to get that mana built up even quicker. Also has the Axe of Devil Blood on it as well. And hey, look at this. It looks like hot fix the sticking items.
We actually see a Berserker finally having a bunch of items. Both had Frenzy Mask and that Maelstrom. So,
Is that with Zuggerog?
I think so, yeah. It usually goes on the Silverblade Paladin, but actually this time Berserker is getting all of the love. Does get crushed from Monty though, having that super powerful God mage build. And we talked about this previously. Divinity is really a counter to the Knight players, especially in the late game. And Monty is already way ahead in terms of power level on the board as it is. So with that actually matchup being better as well, Zuggerog takes tons of damage even through the pre-shield.
Vincent picking up a 2-star God of Thunder, no big deal. But I really think this is a mistake, putting the items onto Berserker and not onto Lightblade, especially since it's 3-star. Honestly, he's probably looking to build another Berserker so that way he can move those items over, and potentially even just moving them over now might be an option as well. But very
agree. Not only does Lightblade Knight deal much more damage with those items, but it does tend to survive a lot longer, which means he kind of gets more juice out of them.
Monty picking up his God of Thunder, which for him is a huge pickup, even more so than Vincent, because Vincent's not going Divinity. Monty is.
Tigers is out actually in 5th.
And so is Zuggerog, so Monty will in fact move on. We do have our top 4 players, Chuck, Sizzle, Vince, and Monty all moving on.
For sure. Yeah, wow. Congratulations to them. That's gonna finish kind of the top 4. So the only thing with quotation marks here we're playing for is 6K, 3K, and then cascading down. So a lot of money still to play for.
So Chuck how much, what rank does he have to get in order to solidify himself
I'm
first
gonna
place?
try to figure it out right now. If you just give me 1 minute here.
Yeah, I think
I'm
your
trying to
EU
count
math
here.
is a little better.
I'm gonna. It's 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm trying to do the math as fast as I can. Just 1 second, I'll figure it out for you.
Take your time.
All
I
right,
got
all right.
this. Chuck is up against Hosty, and he is actually going to be close to going out if he can't knock down this 3-star Hell Knight. He doesn't, and he might take some lethal damage here. He does, but Chuck is actually going to slip into 3rd place, which might be enough to give him that 1st place overall finish. Hosty taking 4th.
Chuck.
GG,
Okay.
boys. See you in China.
Wow.
Absolutely right. So Vincent and
Some good
Monty now
sportsmanship
playing
with that.
for potentially thousands of dollars as well, just depending on who gets 1st and 2nd place here. So this is
Chuck
this
going
is
up
insane.
to 46 points, which means if Vince does take this match, he goes up to
46 as well.
no, he
No,
does go up to
45.
45. So Chuck is going to be our winner of the NA
Wow.
final lobby. Going to give him
Congratulations,
$6,000. So super congrats to him. And then
And Vince has
Sissel
got
did go up
second
way
for sure.
beyond. Yeah. What about Monty?
Monty.
Yeah, he
cannot
will
get
actually
it.
pass Sissel here. So Sissel is going to be in 4th position.
Yeah.
And
Vince will be
Monty
second.
is playing. Yeah,
Vince is 2nd.
yeah. Vince is 2nd for sure. You're
Yeah.
right.
No matter what.
No matter what. So
it's
Chuck
already
at 1st, Vince at 2nd, Monty in 3rd, and Sissel in 4th.
Yeah, that's it. There's no other things that could happen, even if Vincent pulls it back. So, wow, what a series! What
Yeah.
a league!
For
What
sure.
a tournament! What? Wow,
I've learned so much.
I
mean,
have learned
honestly.
yeah so much as far as like the players, how they play. It's
Can we surrender
Yeah.
has been asked. Of course, they know they're just playing for the heck of it. This is just for prestige. He wins the final and last lobby of NA. What a tournament! What a tournament! Look,
Wow.
I mean, there's not only like the big metagame comps that we have seen happening here, but also like small tendencies of what's happening between the games, how the domino effect works, and how the small kind of middling strategies works, and super interesting.
yeah. Asking if they can surrender. Their places are set, so if
I
they
mean,
do
you
want to
do you,
end it
boo.
now, yeah. Monty probably just wanted to get that
Show
3-star
off.
Storm Shaman. And
Does
throw
have
in the
9 out
God
of
of
10
War.
units actually going down to going down to 0 gold, so can't even afford another unit from the shop, even if they have one.
I mean, at this point, it's probably going to be the last round. Actually, maybe
that's
not,
a lot.
because
Jesus, that
Wow.
Storm Shaman is
wow.
it's not gonna be
Okay.
enough though. Yeah, Vincent does survive on his side of the team, and of course it's gonna be better to have 2-star Storm Shamans instead of a 3-star, especially when you don't have another unit to put in at
Yeah.
all.
I mean, we do know that Vincent's team, being the Dragon Mages, does counter Monty's team at the end of the day.
Yeah,
But I
true.
mean, 3-star Storm Shaman is
He does
actually
find a
insane.
God of Thunder to put in. No, he did find a Wind Ranger to put in as his last unit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only having 5 gold after losing his win streak to find one more unit to put in as soon as he combined that Storm Shaman. Storm Shaman probably would have been better off actually having that 2 Storm Shamans at 2 stars, but at this point, of course, it not mattering.
Vincent actually is going to take 1st place here. So honestly, with Chuck and Hosty going out back to back, if that was 1 second difference, we probably would have seen a tiebreaker between Vince and Chuck. But
Yeah.
Chuck has won so many games this.
Yeah, he's really deserving of this 1st position
Yeah.
in the NA lobbies, and not only did he kind of, I'm not gonna say crush this lobby, but I'm not surprised that he won. He did, however, do immensely well in his first group of the qualifiers. Of course, we have had 4 days of playing. We started with 16 players coming out of EU, 16 players from NA, battling up for 2 days to decide which one of those 8 players from each, or 4 players from 2 groups going into this final lobby, as you're seeing right here.
That is gonna
Monty
do
dying
it.
in a blink of an eye.
Vincent playing till the very last moment, taking a very respectable 1 point difference from
Yeah.
1st place, just behind Chuck. So again, congratulations to Chuck for winning the NA Regional Championship for the GLL House Cup. Also, congratulations, Vincent, to taking second, Monty third, and then, of course, Sizzle with that feathered hunter build taking fourth.
Almost getting punished, honestly. I mean, it is so crazy. I mean, Sizzle, watch the stream more. Never go for feather hunters. Not against this type of players. I mean, they will punish you and they will punish you hard.
We've just seen time and time again that that is not
especially
a very
from a loose
reliable.
Especially from a loose streak.
And he had all the 3-star frontline as well that he needed, and he also had the 3-star shining archer. So it's just something just doesn't work right with that build.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, it's really been the tale of this tournament, how the metagame has kind of developed. We knew a lot of these strategies before we came into the tournament, but it's really been hashed out which ones are the most proficient out of them and how they kind of work against each other. Divinity buff maybe beating Nice Glacier, and then of course Dragon Mage beating Divinity in this kind of rock paper scissors environment. But not only that, we saw a lot of impressive hunter strategies, not feather hunter actually, but frontline with
hunters,
warriors, classic with some abyssal in there, especially now that mages are so dominant, except for those night glaciers, of course. We also saw variations of glacier knights, where you go into maybe 6 knights before you go for glaciers, then moving in the glaciers. Also going 6 knights with 3 dragons, winning a lobby. Double dragon knight, 3 dragons, 6 knights at 10. Super powerful stuff.
Yeah. Wow. What an exciting tournament.
Yeah.
What an exciting league. So first off, though, thank you to GLL for putting this on. And it was super organized from the very beginning, between narrowing it down from 1,500 players and keeping that very nice and neat was not an easy task.
For sure.
So definitely hats off to them. Also, hats off to the players. And speaking of the players, the results and official standings are in. Let's take a look.
Let's hope we counted this correctly.
Your man, not mine.
Well, it seems to have been working out. Chuck winning by that single point against Vince, netting him 6k. Vince not getting a bad chunk of change either, getting 3k. Monty in third and Sizzle in fourth. These are your NA qualified players going to Shanghai, where there's going to be a $1 million offline tournament in late October, around 26th, 27th, I believe. Then, unfortunately, we have T-Tires not really getting there in the end. He had a lot of work to do, so, I mean, we kind of saw it coming, but slim chance if all the stars aligned. At 29 points at 5th, Neutron 26 points, Hosty at 22, and Sagrag at 19. And honestly, looking at the previous 2 NA groups, all of these players have been so impressive, and it's really cool. We talked about that some, that are the same players gonna be dominant? And I mean, all of these players were kind of dominant in their own right, but some of them maybe a little bit more dominant than others. And I feel like that's kind of came through in the last final lobby. People like Chuck and Vince crushing it in the NA lobby. People like Disowned and who else was it that really crushed it in the European lobby? Nudge. Thank you. Well, he actually even netted that first place, netting him 6k. So, yeah, amazing tournament. I'm super glad I've been a part of it. I've been teaching. I mean, I've been teaching a lot by these players and this countless of hours on Auto Chess, and I hope you all enjoyed it. And I'm glad GLL was able to host this amazing event.
It's been a pleasure casting this with you.
You as
well. Just, a slight 12 to 13 hours a day for the past 4 days. Bit of a marathon for both of us.
For sure.
But it's been a pleasure throughout the entire way. So thank you to you, Joel Larson, as well. And
to you as well.
Anything else?
No, I don't think so. I'm going to be so excited to see what's going to go on in Shanghai, because with new patches rolling in, everything can change. Who's going to master the new patch? Who knows? Maybe we'll play these guys in your own pub games. If you get to that rank, really anyone has the chance to be as good as these guys here. And I think with that, we're going to sign off.
I feel like it's so weird signing off.
No.
For good.
For good.
Now.
With that being said, I'm glad you all watched this spectacular event, and I hope I'm going to see you guys watching Shanghai, because that's going to be even more massive, of course, in the late of October. With that being said, I'm Joe Larson, joined by Claytano, saying bye from the GLL House Cup.